UK, get yourselves ready for Commanding General Yahanna and the generals of the I.S.U.P.K. will be hosting a monster week across the United Kingdom for the 2023 Feast of Tabernacles. Thursday, September 28th, 7 p.m., 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman Scripture Breakdown class live from Edinburgh, Scotland. Friday, September 29th, tour of King James Castle, Johnny Walker Factory Tour, 8 p.m. I.S.U.P.K. opening of the Feast of Tabernacles, hosted by 13 Shield Commanding General Yahanna from Edinburgh, Scotland. Saturday, September 30th, 12 noon, Street Speaking, Bull Ring, Birmingham, 6 p.m. Street Party and Barbecue at I.S.U.P.K. United Kingdom, 10 p.m. Nightlife, Club Republic in Leicester, special guest performance by 144 The Rebel. Sunday, October 1st, 12 noon, Street Speaking in Central London, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, London Tour and Boat Ride. Monday, October 2nd, 10 a.m., Let a Hebrew Speak, live with 12 Shield Gen.YAHANNA, 7 p.m. England Scripture Breakdown in King's Standing, Birmingham with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman, 9 p.m. Black Watch live with Commanding General Yahanna. Tuesday, October 3rd, 10 a.m. Shakespeare Theater and Warwickshire Castle Tour. For more info, call 44-7960-746-784.
I'll be booking them like Palace, puffing on my chalice. True say I'm an addict, 24 Cali, don't make me have to grab it. Cabbage, niggas can't manage, that's another slapping. Niggas thinking that I'm famous, that I won't slap it. Nigga, I'm erratic, Erdington savage, yeah, you call this modern warfare, when we double tap it.
Another cop can stretch the nigga. He and David, this that exorcism. Watch out, bless the nigga. Who took that open blood? Do you know?
Gangster in the morning, gangster in the evening, gangster in the morning, gangster in the evening, gangster all the time.
Yeah, I'm back and I'm attacking.
Outside. Kalash, kilish, kalash.
C-Tech.
Da 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 da.
Yo, killed.
Say you're bad from which part? Tell a pussy we no gun dip dog. Like Chinese war so the clip tall. Show it up and make you fall from your disc dog. You know one none of this cars, man a big dog. I saw you disappear as if you never did bad.
UK, get yourselves ready for Commanding General Yahanna and the generals of the I.S.U.P.K. will be hosting a monster week across the United Kingdom for the 2023 Feast of Tabernacles. Thursday, September 28th, 7 p.m., 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman Scripture Breakdown class live from Edinburgh, Scotland. Friday, September 29th, tour of King James White Castle, Johnny Walker Factory Tour, 8 p.m. I.S.U.P.K. opening of the Feast of Tabernacles, hosted by 13 Shield Commanding General Yahanna from Edinburgh, Scotland. Saturday, September 30th, 12 noon, street speaking, Bull Ring, Birmingham, 6 p.m., street party and barbecue at I.S.U.P.K. United Kingdom, 10 p.m., nightlife, Club Republic in Leicester, special guest performance by 144, The Rebel. Sunday, October 1st, 12 noon, street speaking in Central London, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, London tour and boat ride. Monday, October 2nd, 10 a.m. Let a Hebrew Speak live with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman, 7 p.m. England Scripture Breakdown in King's Standing, Birmingham with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman, 9 p.m. Black Watch live with Commanding General Yahanna. Tuesday, October 3rd, 10 a.m. Shakespeare Theater and Warwickshire Castle Tour. For more info, call 44-7960-746-784.
And I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Nigga think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying. This shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert. Another cop to stretch the nigga. He a demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gon' get active with you. Fuck the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit, and I ain't listening. Is it fact or fiction? If revenge was a woman, now I stroke that bitch like Jack the Ripper. War, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I came to do damage, bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it Young Perry. How you real trickin' on them dots, you a bird feeder. Claiming he a demon, was a demon to a cult leader. When he said something, I ain't hear him, this shit light work. It ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a game changer. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain. Free shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you won't never get that hand back. Bitch margin about 10%. I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him. Just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angel for your brother's blood. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow son, yeah, this the real McCoy. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still about my bread, still I think that's all that I enjoy. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his gang, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Hello mate, I spun the hard Monday. Now your place when the cuss I win the chase. Get straight to the pace from a day.
Hey shalom Israel, it's Captain Mashak, right here from DC. Don't forget, this September, end of September, the 28th, 29th, 30th, all the way up to October 4th and 5th, Commanding General Yahanna and the I.S.U.P.K. We're going to be live in the UK, United Kingdom. We're going to be up in Scotland, in King James Castle. You see the nigga on my chest. Really right there. King James, man. A black man. We're going to go to his family castle in Scotland and Edinburgh. That castle was built on a volcano. Now, that's some nigga shit, man. That's some nigga shit right there. Up on top of the volcano, brother. You don't want to miss it. Kentucky Camp Leader, you could get down. Kentucky Camp Leader, you could make this trip. You brothers in UK, you sisters in UK, you all come on through, man. Commanding General Yahanna going to be right in your yard. Back hometown, we're going to be Birmingham, Manchester, Leicester, Nottingham, London, Croydon, everywhere done. Everything done.
Now your face I'm done. Another plus clansman, bad man's king down one dance, paint on gunman. And if you feel like sending to do action, recheck good man, go get a wrong bang. My style them a kick like Van Damme, Birmingham, London, England, Brampton. Listen up them off the home, find them from a 30 gun, mad dog from a Burberry. Let us speed me a papa when my pill them, got away you say, senseless pan the $1 million job. Hashtag got the young pan the gram from a fans, I'm dead to it smoother than the dance, fit them up. Better know our time pan the clock. You know watch them flop, them last pan them up. Done in the London, done. Another plus clansman, bad man's king down one dance, paint on gunman. And if you feel like sending to do action, recheck good man, so we get a wrong bang. And my style them a kick like Van Damme, Birmingham, London, England, Brampton. Can't how the girl chase that, now manifest that bad money we a make away the vexing fun.
UK, get yourselves ready for Commanding General Yahanna and the generals of the I.S.U.P.K. will be hosting a monster week across the United Kingdom for the 2023 Feast of Tabernacles. Thursday, September 28th, 7 p.m., 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman Scripture Breakdown class live from Edinburgh, Scotland. Friday, September 29th, tour of King James Castle, Johnny Walker Factory Tour, 8 p.m. I.S.U.P.K. opening of the Feast of Tabernacles, hosted by 13 Shield Commanding General Yahanna from Edinburgh, Scotland. Saturday, September 30th, 12 noon, Street Speaking, Bull Ring, Birmingham, 6 p.m. Street Party and Barbecue at I.S.U.P.K. United Kingdom, 10 p.m. Night Israelite, Club Republic in Leicester. Special guest performance by 144, The Rebel. Sunday, October 1st, 12 noon, street speaking in central London. 1 p.m. Eastern Time, London tour and boat ride. Monday, October 2nd, 10 a.m. Let a Hebrew speak live with 12 Shield Gen.YAHANNA 7 p.m. England scripture breakdown in King's Standing, Birmingham with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman. 9 p.m. Black Watch live with Commanding General Yahanna. Tuesday, October 3rd, 10 a.m. Shakespeare Theater and Warwickshire Castle Tour. For more info, call 44-7960-746-784.
Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Please be seated. Clap up. Clap it up. Get it on. Since I'm here in Scotland, let's have some Scotch tonight. Clap it up for the Most High. In Scotland. I'll take all of your questions. If we have any questions online, I left something in that back. My phone, you must have seen something. I appreciate it. I'll answer all of your questions in the room and online, and then we'll get into a breakdown, okay? No problem. Question. Oh, let me do my Espanol for a second. When I get the phone, I'll do it then, all right? Any questions before I get it out of the shop?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, one second. Grab my phone. Any questions in the room? I appreciate it. There's brothers in the back, we can get started, all right? You said something now you thought?
No, but that has to be done. Can't do this tour tomorrow night. King James.
Okay, history of King James. Now for that, the best way to understand King James is to get the book, Nature Knows No Color Line. I appreciate that. Nature Knows No Color Line. We're talking about King James' family. King James was a black man. Many people throughout history do not know that, but that's on purpose. Most of our history in America and in Great Britain and all throughout South and Central America has been purposefully erased. King James is another man whose history and lineage has been erased. Black men ruled Europe for 1,000 years. Hispanics ruled Europe for 1,000 years. I'll just give you a brief history about where these families come from, and then about King James. Now, to start, you got to go back to the time of an emperor. What is this cat's name? Marcus Aurelius, right? Mm-hmm. The emperor Marcus Aurelius. Now, this time, it was after the sack of Jerusalem. Jerusalem was sacked in 70 A.D. Now, I appreciate it, Lord. Through water. I'll hook it up for you. Through water. Jerusalem was sacked in 70 A.D., right? At that time, because of the sack of Jerusalem, black Jews now were flooded into Rome. They were taken into Rome to serve out slavery, much like the Windrush generation. The brothers and sisters that know about the Windrush people that came over here from the West Indies, they were brought here, invited here by the oppressors to serve out slavery in Great Britain. When they came to Great Britain, they called England the mother country. That's what this place was. That's how they referred to Great Britain, the mother country. They were over in Jamaica and in Trinidad, and they referred to England as the mother country. And one day their mother country asked them to come to their mother country, and they promised them jobs and wealth and a better life. Well, in 70 AD, the Romans sacked Jerusalem, our holy land, our home. At the end of that, we had no food, nowhere to go. Most of us were taken into slavery in Rome so they could eat, so they could survive. Many of them, the strongest of them, were fighting in the Roman Colosseums. They became what we call now today the gladiators, right? They're actually named after the sword that they used to use, which is called a gladius. So they named these people after the sword. But they were slaves that fought in the Roman arenas for Roman sport to amuse the people, much like boxing and British football and the UFC, where we're here to entertain them. Well, a long time ago in Rome, we were there to entertain the Romans, and we fought. Now, during the time of Marcus Aurelius's reign over Europe, a great plague ravished Europe. Everyone was dying, much like the COVID-19 virus. But for some reason, the plague did not spread among the gladiators, right? Now scientists hypothesize that it was because of their closed-in society, meaning they were slaves, so they couldn't mix with other people. They had to stay with each other. They were only around each other, and they were healthy. They were constantly training, constantly in shape. And they believed, they didn't know why, but they knew that the plague did not affect them the way it was ravishing the rest of Rome. So Marcus Aurelius realized that he had no more soldiers to defend Rome. His numbers had decreased so much because most of the Roman soldiers who were oppressors were wiped out by the plague. Well, he had the idea to go conscript the gladiators and to put them in the Roman army. So he gave the best gladiators high positions. He gave the other gladiators lower positions under them. And now these men who at one time were slaves now became generals in Rome. Now time goes by. During that time, we're in what you would call the Dark Ages. Right. But these men raise up in the ranks. Rome begins to fall, but these men are in charge of pockets of Rome. Men like Persinius Niger or Servus Septimius, which is where you get the name September from him, and men like Constantine before him, who also was a black man whose family came up through the Roman gladiators and came into power after Rome had a horrible plague. Now, so time goes on, and okay, and for me coming from America, I'm from the tribe of Judah from America, and it's very difficult for even people from America to understand the difference in racism in England as opposed to America. British racism is not like American racism. Right. American racism is aggressive. Yeah. It's extremely aggressive, in your face all day. They do not want you to ever forget that they are better than you. But British racism is different. And for a while, there was no problem with a black man ruling in Europe. It wasn't considered strange. You get my point? And many people, like in the Vatican, there's a picture of Saint Maurice. Moor means black. And he is the patron saint of the Roman Catholic Church, because they say that he martyred himself early in the history of the Catholic Church. And his picture is sitting up there, and you have black Madonnas all over Europe, black pictures of Mary. And it's in America, they would never allow a black picture of Jesus. Right. It wouldn't be allowed there. If you tried to make a black picture of Jesus, your church would get burned down. If you put a black picture of Jesus anywhere in America, that's it for your church. It's over. But in Great Britain, it's different. So why is it different? Because for 1,000 years, black men ruled here. And it was very normal. And so King James, he came from, I believe, the house of Tudor. Is that right? No, Tudor is someone else.
I don't know if you want to
say again.
Black Douglases and the Stewart family.
Boom, the Black Douglases and the Stewart family. Those, you can trace their bloodline straight back to the black people that came into the Roman Colosseums and then began to rule Rome. And they ruled for a long time. Many people are surprised that King James had slaves and was involved in the slave trade. If you don't believe, if that is hard for you to understand, then you've never met Oprah Winfrey,
Right.
Michael Jordan. Okay, that is extremely common for black people to hurt and enslave their own people. That's, I mean, normal. You ever hear of Puff Diddy over here? Do you know who Puff Diddy is? Is that his name?
P. Diddy.
Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diddy will enslave you today. He'll put you in slavery right now, today, and take every penny you have and send you back to the projects. So what do they call the housing projects over here? The homes? Estates. They'll send you right back to the estates after he steals every penny that you have. King James was a black man, but he was in the world. So he was cruel and he didn't care about his own people. And you'll find that, you know, everywhere outside of the Israelite school of UPK, even today.
So,
all right, so I'm sorry.
So Henry the Seventh of England, he was black.
That's a Henry VIII's father, correct?
I'm not too sure, sir. I just looking at our family lineage. I just, you know what I mean, because I know how he likes to.
Oh, Henry the Seventh. No, that was someone else. You got to look it up. Like I can't recall all of the names, but by now it's simple as looking it up.
Come on.
To see who was black and who was not. All right, it's basically common knowledge right now.
Come on.
All right, and I know when I was coming up, we always went to Nature Knows No Color Line and a few other books, but now you can just put it in the internet and you'll find it out. All right.
Okay.
For the specific names, good to go.
Come on.
There's a few other names like oh my God, what is it? I forgot them all. Is that woman? Some princess. It's Queen Charlotte, I think, is the one I'm thinking about. And it's another Catherine of Aragon. And her brother, something of Aragon. I want to say Peter of Aragon or Pietrus of Aragon, which means Peter. He was a famous black person. All of these are in Nature Knows No Color Line.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions in the room? Good to go? Let me know when you want to do it, Michelle. 1 second. Uno momento.
You have a question?
Let me get this real fast. Mi nombre es General Mahayaman. Soy tu hermano y estos son los anuncios. Somos la Escuela Israelita de Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Comenzamos en 1 Oeste, calle 125, Harlem, Nueva York, desde 1969, bajo del comando de el general Yahanna. Carnales, esta es la verdad. Si tú eres latino o indio nativo, tú eres Israel, el pueblo elegido Dios. Tu madre y tu padre dicen que somos un culto y mantienen su iglesia sin culpa. Tu iglesia es culpable de todo. With that, let's go. Any questions? I've been through up.
Breakdown of what's going on with the angels in Jude 1 and 6.
All right. Solid. If you got any hecklers too, give me those questions. The brothers never give me the hecklers questions. I don't know why. I mean, that's really the only ones I really want. The ones who are not battling me, y'all can answer those. I really only care about it if it's a battle. I'm just trying to be honest with you. All right. Let's go ahead. Give me the question. What was it again?
What's going on with the angels? Can I get a breakdown? This is Amawan Gabar. Shalom. So can I get a breakdown on what's going on with the angels in Jude 1 and 6?
Jude 1 and 6. Let's go.
Jude 1 and 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he have reserved in everlasting chains.
We got you. So, if I could, warrior, this is one of the precepts that the Catholic Church uses to say that, you know, Satan was some angel that God cast out of heaven. Many of you went to school and Sunday school. You heard that lie about Satan, right? Well, this is one of the precepts that they derived that lie from. This is not talking about angels like the ones that live with the Most High God, because they can't be corrupted because they're not in flesh and blood. You see, you and I in flesh and blood, we could backslide one day. One day you and I could decide we want to go get high again. What's the drug of choice that everyone uses in Great Britain? That's an epidemic. There's no drug epidemic in Great Britain.
Or the balloon,
Yeah, but balloon one.
A balloon?
Yeah, it was something to be sucking on. Get them high.
God dang.
it's a canister.
What is it?
It's like a metal canister with some gas in there, laughing gas.
Laughing gas. And that's like an epidemic.
Come on, can't say.
Everybody just laughing like crazy. Having a good time, Michelle. Laughing. Everything's so polite. Even they crack is polite. Polite crack. Damn. All right. Well, you could backslide and get back on that laughing gas one day. Why? Because you're in flesh, so you can make mistakes, right? You're a man, but angels are not men. You get my point? They don't have penises that can draw them off into sin. They don't have a stomach that could desire something unclean. They don't have temptations because they don't have physical brains like you and I that can have trauma and that can have bad memories. They're not men. This is not speaking about the angelic power that's with the Most High God. These angels are his messengers here on earth. You and I, we are the angels of the Most High God because we're his messengers. Christ said this, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. The Most High God has beings with him in heaven that put heaven in order. The Most High God has beings on earth to put the earth in order, and we are his angels. Now, the problem is we're men. We're flesh and blood, and we can fail. We can be tempted. We can fall out of the truth. We can lean back on the lust that we spit out before. We can betray God, but not angels. Everyone understands. Read it one more time.
Jude 1:6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he have reserved in everlasting chains.
Taste every word of that right real fast, all right? The angels which kept not their first estate. Now when you realize it's speaking about men who are God's messengers who left their first estate. What was our first estate? Israel, Jerusalem. That's our home. Our home is not in England, in Scotland, in America, in Mexico. This is the home of someone else. Someone else killed to take those countries and to rule those countries, and then killed to rule us. But we have a home. We have an estate. It's in the Middle East, man. It's the land that every nation on the planet is fighting over right now. Every nation wants your home. And we're so far and departed from it, we're the only ones that don't want it. We left our first estate, which is Jerusalem. Go ahead.
But left their own habitation. He have reserved in everlasting chains.
So once we left our estate, I just gave you the history of the Roman Empire, how we went into the Roman Colosseums, fought for them, then fought for Rome itself and their military, and then were dragged over here, invited here by the British Empire on the Windrush boats to come over here and build up Great Britain after World War II. After World War II, this place was a wreck.
That's right.
It was terrible. In Scotland and in Great Britain, it was a horrible place from the Blitzkrieg, which was the Germans' policy of just constantly bombing Great Britain, constantly bombing this place. And there was so much work to be done and so many dead Edomites not to do it. So they went over to Jamaica, they went over to Trinidad, and they were looking at those Jamaicans and Trinidadians were looking at those oppressors like they were angels. Like they came from God, from the mother country, to give them opportunity and to help them. They loved Great Britain, man. The Windrush generation loved this place. And loved this place the only way that a slave could love a master. It's a different kind of love that most white people will never understand. And their love comes from a sense of, this person has been kind to me. This person did something for me. That's how the white people love each other. They love each other based on, oh, you did this for me. Oh, yeah, you helped me. It is completely different, the love that we have for white people. Our love for white people comes from self-loathing and him being the opposite of me. You get my point? Like, I hate myself. You are nothing like me, which makes you beautiful. I'm dark, you're white. Being white is beautiful because being dark is ugly. I'm poor, you're rich. Being rich is great because being poor is terrible. I come from Jamaica, you come from the mother country. Like, it comes from a place of self-loathing, and they got on those Windrush boats, brother, to come over here believing that this country would love them back. That's what they thought. They thought that. The whole boat ride over here, they're thinking, I'm going to the mother country. They want me to come here. They're inviting me. They're asking me to come. And there's another thing. The people that came over here on the Windrush were not immigrants. That's another stupid lie that people say constantly about the West Indians that came to Great Britain. How in the hell were they immigrants when Jamaica and Trinidad were subjugated under the British Empire? That's right. They weren't immigrants. It's like being from Puerto Rico in America and calling yourself an immigrant. Puerto Rico is a state. It's a state. It's a U.S. state. So you can't be an immigrant if you're from Puerto Rico. Well, you cannot be an immigrant if you come from Jamaica or Trinidad, because Jamaica and Trinidad are owned by Great Britain. That's right. There's no way that you could be an immigrant. But lo and behold, after you got here, and after you fought in the Shetlands, and the Shetland, what's that word in the Shetland? The Shetland Army? The Shetland, Shetland is the name of it. Look it up. There's a war that was fought, I think, around the 80s. And the wars in Northern Ireland, which so many West Indians fought in, brother. And the wars in Northern Ireland against the Irish back during the time of the 70s and the 80s. And the war, I believe, is called the Shetland Islands. Someone can Google it quickly to tell me if I'm correct. And in the Falkland War. These are all the wars that West Indians fought and died and bled in. Come on.
Shetland War, sir.
The Shetland War. And the war in, what's the one I just said? The Falkland Islands. My God, how many of your brothers and sisters, your grandfathers bled for this country in those wars? Bled and died. Well, at the end of the wars, you know what they did? They said, all of you have to go back. After you fought in the military, after you lost life and limb fighting for the British government, then they wanted to send you back to Jamaica because the roads were built. You understand? Once the roads got built, once the place was refurbished, and once they had no need of your labor, then they wanted to send you back to Jamaica, send you back to Trinidad, because they were done with you. And there you were sitting there looking at them, wondering why your mother country betrayed you. Listen, this is what the Israelite School of UPK can provide for you. And it is so essential to survival and to success. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He's the devil. El hombre blanco es diablo. He is the devil. Now, why is that so beautiful and why is it educational? Because then when you come to work here, you won't ever think that they'll love you back. You'll go to work and you'll go home. You'll stack your money, fill up one of those big jars and send it back to Trinidad or Jamaica, and them barrels, the water. Send it back to Trinidad and be done with it. But you won't ever give this place your heart, because then your heart will be broken. Does everyone understand? Come on. Okay. I'm sorry, General Hodges.
If I could, that's what they do to us. Come on. They come with their slaves, they work with you, smile at you, talk to you, and when it's over, they go back to their crib. You want to come out of Africa or something? No. They do the same thing to us.
See me one more time, warrior. You're correct, Doc. You're absolutely correct. Get me back on target. Where was I again?
Jude 1 and 6, sir.
Keep going.
And the angels, which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness.
That's what I was just describing, the everlasting chains of darkness. This is not talking about, some angelic being living in Mars or living up where the Lord lives. This is talking about your grandfathers and you, your grandmothers and you. Everlasting chains of darkness. I mean, a poverty and an oppression that you have only known. Like forever. Like, how far would you go back to know someone or some woman in your family or some brother that was poor and suffering and dying. You would just go back so long out, it would break your heart to keep doing the research. And most of us have no hope that it can be different for our children. We don't have any hope because we know where they're going to live. We know what's going to happen to them because it happened to us. That's the everlasting chains of darkness that these angels are suffering in right now. Everyone understand?
Come on, come on.
Go ahead, Art.
Unto the judgment of the great day.
Until the judgment of the great day. That's Judgment Day. Judgment Day when? Judgment Day, the whole reason that we want Judgment Day is because Judgment Day is when these bombs get broken. Judgment Day is when there's justice for Windrush. Justice for every brother and every sister that gave their lives to the British Empire only to be thrown away once they were finished with you. There's justice on Judgment Day for that. And all of us just work towards that great day. All of us put our heads down and we grind, all knowing that one day we will receive justice. This is speaking about us, not the angels that sit with the Most High. Everyone understands.
Come on, come on.
Anything else? Please, warrior. Say again, huh? No, please, everyone can eat. Get down. Eat all you want. Do you have any other questions? Go ahead.
I guess a breakdown on Isaiah. This is Jahid. Shalom, Lord in Christ.
Shalom.
I guess a breakdown on Isaiah 26, verse 20 and 21.
Go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
Isaiah what? 26. Verse 20 and 21.
Oh, 26 and 21. Isaiah 26, verse 21. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood.
Oh, yeah.
And,
keep going. Huh?
And shall no more cover her slain.
Yeah, this is speaking about Judgment Day once again. This is retribution, man. Retribution. The one thing the slaves don't think is possible because slaves don't think that their lives matter enough to ever receive justice. Right? If you were an oppressor, then you would just expect that if someone harmed you, that they would be harmed. You would expect it. Why? Because you consider yourself a British citizen. The British person walks around this country, brother, thinking that he owns this place. That's what he thinks. He thinks everything is his. Everything that he sees is his. He thinks that he's really the only British citizen. Everyone else is just here serving him like his guests. And so we all have to behave like we're guests here. But only white British people are the real British citizens. But if you come over here from Jamaica or Trinidad, you have to behave like a guest in someone's home. Not like the home is yours. Not like your people fought for this place. Not like you are the people that served it when they would refuse. You did not. They think that they own this place. And guess what? There's judgment for that. And you deserve justice, man. And don't let anybody make you think otherwise, man. Don't let that low self-esteem make you think that what happened to you will never receive an answer. The Bible says it will receive an answer. And we're reading about it right now. Read it one more time.
Come on. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants.
The Lord cometh, meaning he's coming out of his place. Where's his place? The angelic power where heaven is, brother. That's his place. But he is sending angels from heaven to give you justice. The Most High is coming out of his place. He's not just going to sit in heaven and watch you suffer forever. He's sending his armies here.
That's right.
Our armies come from heaven. The Lord is sending his armies from heaven. Keep going.
To punish the inhabitants of the earth.
Ooh-wee, man. Listen, that's the gospel. That's what's going to happen. To punish the inhabitants of this earth, man. You don't have to sit somewhere in some impoverished condition, believing this is the way it always will be. That's a lie, man. Your sons are going to have a better life than you. Your daughters will have a better life than you. This is absolutely going to happen. Now, there's things you have to do to ensure that better future. That's like anything else. You have to make changes within yourself if you want to have a better future. But if you can make those changes, the Most High God is going to give you justice, brother. He'll answer the blood of your grandfather, your grandmother.
That's right.
He'll answer that blood. Keep going.
Come on, Khan. Of the earth for their iniquity.
For their iniquity means wickedness. All right, for their wickedness. Keep going.
The earth also shall disclose her blood.
The earth also shall disclose her blood. Now, this is a metaphor. You can take this right back to, someone hold this and give me Genesis, the 4th chapter with Cain. When Cain acted like he didn't know where his brother was. When Cain murdered his brother, but when the Most High God asked him, "Where's your brother?" he said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" You know, like meaning I'm not you know what a zookeeper is over here, right? You have that over here, zookeeper. Right, zookeeper is the one that watches the monkeys or watches the lions. So since he watches them, he always knows where the lions are. He always knows where the monkeys are. So Cain is like, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Like, I'm not watching him all day. Like, how effing arrogant was that of him to say something like that to the Most High God? Cain, where is thy brother? I'm not watching him all day. I got other things to do. Am I my brother's keeper? That's what Cain said to the Most High. You have that? What do you hold?
Can't get it now, sir.
If not, keep reading that till someone else gets it.
Come on, Khan.
Because that's what this is referring to. Go ahead. I think it's 4 and 16.
Genesis 4 and 16.
Go ahead.
Come. And shall no more cover her slain.
Read that part one more time.
Come. The whole thing goes.
No, just at the end about the blood in the ground and all that.
Come. The earth shall disclose her blood.
That's what you need. The earth shall disclose her blood. The metaphor is that there's blood in the dirt, blood in the ground that's been covered up. The same way if you murdered someone and they would bleed into the ground, but then the ground would soak up the blood and the blood would be gone. And because the blood is gone, no one would ever know that you murdered this person. Well, in Great Britain, the ground is bloody here. It's bloody, but no one knows about it. No one talks about it. No one thinks about it. Everyone gets your mind off it with drugs and nonsense. And so the blood is in the earth. It's gone. But the Most High said what? Read what's next.
Come. And shall no more cover her slain.
And shall no more cover her slain. The ground is not going to cover the dead bodies anymore. Right? That's where you hide dead bodies at, in the earth. You put them in the earth, and then guess what? There's no body. No one thinks about it. He's just gone. That's what happened to your family members. They're just gone. What happened to them is just a mystery. They're just not here, and that's all. And we really shouldn't even be talking about this. We should put this in the past. Did they say that over here, to put slavery in the past? Oh, you familiar with that? Yeah, I've been hearing that my whole time in the truth. Put that in the past. That's in the past. They want the blood to be covered by the earth. They want the slain to be covered. They want to hide the body. Do you understand? They don't want anyone to know about it at all. But the Most High is going to uncover that body up. I'm fine. You can feed everyone else. I'm good to go. What? The Most High is going to uncover the blood in the ground, the bodies in the dirt. Come on.
So, like I said, they want you to forget about slavery, but remember 9/11, and it didn't even happen in England.
Give them a hand.
Still have 1 minute silence.
What you're saying is a fact. 9/11, you can't never forget that. Over in New York, they read the names of each person that died every year. 3,000 names. Takes about 3 hours. And they get the son, the son who was 5 years old when his father died. Now he's 25. He's sitting up there reading names. They never forget 9/11. They never forget World War II.
That's right.
My God, in Great Britain, I don't think they forget the War of the Roses over there. They remember every damn thing. Any war that happens over here, you got to hear about it constantly all the time. But slavery, that has to be forgotten about, right? No. The Most High is going to make you remember slavery, make you remember Windrush, make you remember the people that suffered and died so that they could become a superpower and you could become a slave. Everyone understands. You have the one I asked for in Genesis?
Come on, so Genesis 4 and 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done?
That's what the Most High said. What hast thou done? This is an excellent cut for oppressors on the street. Just to keep hitting them with, what hast thou done? They'll start to quake. What hast thou done? What have you done? That's what oppressors, you need to reveal what they've done. It matters. It matters in giving you self-esteem, your people self-esteem, and it lowers their pride. And oppressors have to be humbled. They have got to be humbled, because if not, their pride will reach unto Mars. They'll enslave everything and everybody that comes on their path if they're not brought down to size. And in our camps, we bring oppressors down to size. That's right. I pray you'll see that soon. We bring them down. We put a mirror in front of them to let them see how small they are. All right, keep going.
Come on, come. Verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
Read again.
The blood.
The voice.
And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
That's another perfect camp breakdown right there. The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. That is what we're doing out in the street. That's why we're on the internet. We're speaking for the victim. We're speaking for someone who's not here. That's why we're so angry. We're so angry because he's not here to reflect his anger. He's not here to yell out. Your grandmother is not here to talk about what happened to her. She went to her grave knowing what happened to her and feeling like she couldn't say anything. Well, you're here. You yell for her.
That's right.
You talk about what happened to her. She deserves it. She deserves it. And the Most High said, the slain are not going to be covered by the ground anymore. And that's enough. No more of that being polite garbage while you suffer and die and your children have no hope but for the same thing that happened to you. You're going to have to speak up for the people who were killed. The Most High wants it done. Everyone understands.
Come on.
There was during the reporting of the Windrush, there was these stories where they were reporting the elderly people 75 years, and they was finding older brothers and sisters dead in their flat, and in their cabinet was only cat food and the star, like there was like 60, 70 pounds dead, because they hide them from the home office.
Listen, Captain Mashak is saying it's so true. The Windrush deportation, now, it was such an historically evil thing to bring those people over here. They came here, they rebuilt Great Britain after World War II. And then one day, the prime minister just deported them all. And so all of them went running and hiding because they didn't want to go back, because this is their home, because they've been here for so long. And because they're running and hiding, they don't leave out of their houses. And they died in their flats with cat food on the table. And they died. And now what? We can't talk about it. We can't bring it up? No. I don't think it's going down like that, brothers and sisters. I don't think we can have that. Go ahead, up.
So like I said, when they came, they couldn't rent a house. They had to rent one bedroom. So there'd be like 4 brothers in one room. And the oppressor would take the bath out of the bathroom to make another room so it can get more money. And meanwhile, oppressors was renting a whole house with a front garden, back garden for the same price. Sir.
So wait, break that down again. Say it one more time.
So if you're from the Caribbean, if you're the Windrush, you couldn't rent a house. You had to rent a room. So you have
what justification did they have for not letting people who came over here on Windrush rent a house?
Just wouldn't let you rent one. They made money. They made like double, like an oppressor will pay a certain amount of money. I think it was back then it was like £4 for a whole house, for the front yard, backyard. And a brother was paying the same price for a room, had to share it. And the oppressor was so greedy, he'll take the bath out of the bathroom to make another room so he could fit more, Windrush in there.
More people into the damn flat. Yes, there has to be an answer for that. And take that back to your Christian church. Because how could a merciful and loving God ever send Jesus Christ to save oppressors?
That's right.
That could never happen. That is something that could never be true. Why? Because it would be like the Most High saving Cain. You understand? The Most High said, the voice of thy brother's blood crieth to me from the ground. Now, in today's society, we think that the Most High loves Cain. You understand?
Come on, Kai.
We think that, oh, well, God loves everyone. So he loves Cain too. So can you imagine right here, the Most High saying, well, you murdered your brother and his body's in the ground, but I died for all people. So I'm going to love Cain as well. Why would the Most High never love Cain? One answer. It's about a sentence. The Most High could never love Cain for the same reason the Most High God could never love oppressors.
That's right.
And they could never be saved. And they could never have the kingdom of heaven. And Jesus Christ could never die for oppressors. Why? For the same reason that the Most High God could never save Cain, could never love Cain. What's the reason? I'll be highly impressed if someone could get this. Sisters, don't be scared. Try to answer a question. You got to get something in your head too. And the UPK women can't be dumb. So you want to get something in your mind. There's one reason. It's a sentence. It's everything I've just said the entire class. Of course, your family members think that white people can be saved. Am I telling you something you never heard of? Right? Okay. Everybody thinks that. Right? Everybody thinks that Jesus died for everybody. Do they think that? Do you have Christianity in England? Okay. So you have that over here, right? So you know that the majority of the planet, how many Christians are on the planet Earth right now? Look that up. 2 minutes. Look that up so I could make it clear how prevalent this lie is and how believing this makes you in the world. You've heard that term before, in the world, right? Being in the world, Well, being Christian means you're in the world because the vast part of society is this. Young warrior. 2.6 billion people are Christians. So if you are Christian, you are in the world. You get my point? You believe something that the vast majority of people believe. Now give me some things that Christians believe. They believe Jesus is white, or they believe that it doesn't matter what color he is. They came up with that around about the 70s. Around the 70s, they said, you know what? When the UPK started to get on the street and started to teach everyone that Jesus was black, then they looked at that scripture and they said, you know what? It doesn't even matter. Come to find out, it don't matter what color he is. And that started around the 70s, right? 1970s. They believe that Jesus is white, or it doesn't matter what color he is. They believe that Jesus Christ died for everyone. They believe that God is all love, and he loves all nations no matter what they've done. That is the Christian belief if you're in Great Britain or in Mexico. It's the exact same thing. It's what 2.6 billion people believe. Now, that is impossible to be true. Impossible to be true. For the same reason that the Most High could never love Cain, could never save Cain. Why could the Most High never love Cain? Want to give it a shot? It's all right. Just a shot. No, the Most High can forgive a selfish person. You got to bring me home, though. I'm walking down the road. Come on. That's true. I always like that, but that's not the answer in this time. The Most High could never love Cain for Abel, for him. And that, brothers and sisters, is love. That's right. That's what it is. If you want to try to understand it, and most of you have never experienced it, but it's love means I can never forgive the people that brought you to this country and then deported you with cat food in your refrigerator. I can't do it for you. You understand? For him, I can't do it because of what happened to her. Because of what happened to Abel, I can't forgive Cain because forgiving Cain would further assassinate Abel. It would hurt him more. So now he's dead and in the ground. He's buried. So now the person that kills him, the person that hid his body, I go to him and say, you're forgiven. Jesus Christ is all love and God doesn't care about color. What about the body in the ground? What about him? But the Most High God in the reverse said what? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth to me from the ground. He's not forgetting Windrush. He's not forgetting the deportations. He's not forgetting slavery. He's not forgetting the whippings and the beatings and the slaughterings. Why? For you. That's why he won't forget. And that's why the white man can never be saved. For you. And that's why the Immaculate Conception can never be true. For you. That's why he won't forget slavery. He won't forget oppression. He won't forget the drug addiction. For you. And if you could get that concept in your stupid head, then you would realize that our oppressor has one future and one future only. Judgment.
That's right.
Everyone understands. The water. Who had the hand up? Go ahead. He would have to hate Abel to forgive Cain. Instead, what did the Most High do? He expelled Cain into the caves, man. Into the caves. He didn't love him and kiss him and forgive him. And the Most High, he can't do something like that because the Most High is love. Do you understand?
Come on.
Because God is love. And that's why our oppressor has to be punished. Because God is love. And it would not be love for someone to deport your grandmother and your grandfather and then to get Great Britain and heaven. Like the thought of it, I don't even understand the calculation in the Christian's mind. Heaven wouldn't even be heaven if white people are there. It's not going to be heaven because here we are, and we're in Great Britain right now. We're here and white people are here. Now they're rich and powerful and deported your grandmother and your grandfather. You're here and poor. Then Jesus returns. And both of you walk through the pearly gates and go get halos and wings. So you're not going to look at this man and go, damn, we both here. But back there, you were beating me like a dog. So how are you with me in this heaven? How could that be right? We're both here together. We're here in heaven equals. Both with halos, both with wings. But in Great Britain, you had my grandmother deported. No, you got to read Lazarus. You got to read the story of Lazarus in the New Testament. We're not going to have heaven together. We're not, because on earth, thou lived sumptuously, and we were in agony day and night.
That's right.
So we're not going to share heaven either. We didn't share this. We didn't share Great Britain. We didn't share this place. And we're not going to share heaven. Everyone understands. All right. The entire doctrine of Christianity is a lie. And the only way you could believe it is if you're on that laughing gas. All right. Where you at now? Any questions? What's the street name of the laughing gas?
The laughing gas?
Oh, okay. Good enough.
No, they put the laughing gas in the balloon, he holds it, and then it's off.
They hold it, they suck it out to the lungs. There's a lot of sucking with these drug addicts, isn't it? A big part of the process. Reading on. Anything else? I'm sorry. A question from someone?
You have a question?
Karawan Khan, in Genesis 4 verse 24, if Cain shall be avenged 70-fold, Karawan Khan, if Cain should be avenged 70-fold, Lamech 70 and 70-fold. Why did he say then Cain should be avenged? Shouldn't it be Abel be avenged?
I'll show it to you. Give me Genesis the 3rd chapter. Is it 3? No, it's 4. Give me Genesis the 4th chapter. Let me sum you up, and then I'll take you to your point, right? Cain murdered his brother Abel, and then he was given a punishment. His punishment is that he was, in essence, exiled. He could not come around people anymore. He had to go live in the mountains. He was expelled from the face of the earth. The face of the earth is the flat earth. That's why it's called the face. So he had to go live up in the mountains, which is where the cavemen come from, troglodytes, because our oppressor, his people come from the mountains, from the Caucasus Mountain later on, and Mount Seir, when they were living around our land in Jerusalem, all right? So Cain had to go live up there. And so he went up there and would get women and I can't say rape, right? We on TikTok? It's better not to say it. He would assault women. He would force women. That's how he married, by forcing women. And then he would have children from forcing women. And in these mountains, he began to, become a society in these mountains. You understand, right? Okay, so when Cain originally received his punishment, that was his punishment. Give me to when Cain was given his punishment. Cain was expelled from the earth and he couldn't come around people anymore. You have it? Go ahead.
Genesis 4:11. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood.
Meaning what? Since you buried your brother in that earth, now you got to get off of that flat earth. That dirt that you dug up and put your brother in, you got to leave the earth. You get my point? So where did he go? He went up high in the mountains. And that's where he went to go live. That was his punishment, since he put his brother in the dirt. You get the point. Keep going.
From thy hand, verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength.
Remember, he dug up the earth and put his body in the earth. So now he's going to live in the rocks of that mountain. And he's not going to have any dirt or any soil to grow crops. He's not doing that anymore because he put his brother in the dirt. So now he's going to live in the Rocky Mountains. And from here on, the earth is not going to give her food to him anymore. He's not going to be able to plant. Before that, Cain was famous for planting grain. That he was good at it. He tried to give grain to the Most High God as a sacrifice, and the Most High God did not accept it, because the Most High God only accepts a living sacrifice, a sacrifice of blood. Do you get my point? So this is his punishment. Continue.
A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth.
That's what you're going to be from now on. A fugitive and a vagabond. What is a vagabond? A bum. Do you have that word over here?
A tramp.
A tramp, right? Is that right? A tramp. That's it. You're going to be a tramp. You just live outside and you're on the run. The same way a lot of brothers and sisters were trying to run from the immigration forces over here, from the Home Office.
That's right.
Now that's going to be you. Like, he's supposed to be the one running from the Home Office, not us. He's the one that unalives people. He's the criminal. But instead, we're running. We're hiding. Well, his punishment is that he is going to run and hide. He's not going to be able to come into towns because the people are going to hate him because of the crime he committed. So he lives in the mountains where there's no soil. So the ground doesn't give forth its strength to him anymore. He can't grow crops. And he's a fugitive and a bum, a tramp. Continue.
Verse 13. And Cain said unto the Most High, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
This is for you, brother. Ask the question. When he heard this punishment, he said, this punishment is too great for me. Meaning, I can't handle this kind of punishment. Continue.
Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid.
That's the part you need, warrior. And from thy face shall I be hid. What did he mean by that? You're not going to be looking at me anymore. So now when someone wants to harm me, you are not going to help me because your face is hidden from me. You're not going to protect me anymore. Before, he was Adam's son. So he was under the protection of God. He knows now after this, he's going to be under no protection. And because of that, keep going.
Come on. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
He knows that now because you're not protecting me, everyone that finds me shall slay me. Meaning, I'm going to be unalive, my sons, my sons' sons, everyone who sees me will hate me because of what I've done, because I am a murderer.
That's right.
He knew what would happen to him. He knew that everyone would hate him because of what he did to Abel. And so he's saying, yeah, well, your punishment is too much because I'm going to be in the mountains, but then people are going to come and kill me in those mountains. And they're going to kill my sons and my sons' sons. You get the point. Keep going.
Verse 15. And the Most High said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold.
So the Messiah said, you know what? No problem. So whoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. So Cain's punishment was what, warrior? The same brother that asked the question. What was Cain's punishment? We're not there yet. Just think this, and that's not his punishment. That was to help him. His punishment was he was driven from the earth.
Oh, God.
He was made to live in the caves. That's his punishment. But what if someone wants to kill him when his punishment is that he's driven from the earth? If you go and try to kill them, you're killed 7 times because you wanted to kill one of them. Our oppressor, Rock, his punishment is not for people to take up arms and go kill him. You get my point? Many revolutions have happened in Great Britain. Oh my God, I can think about so many of them where people try to take up revolutionary arms and to fight oppressors. And what happens? Do you know? Say again?
They die.
They die. Because you are not allowed to take God's justice in your own hands, which is what the Most High is trying to teach us right here. Yes, he's a murderer. Yes, but the Most High God gave him a punishment, and the Lord will carry it out. But we are not allowed to carry it out, because whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. Do you understand? Which is why you can never take up guns and try to go start killing white people. That will not work. Many people have tried it. So now, 9/11, they tried that, didn't they? They gave it a shot. They killed 3,000 of them in New York. How many people died afterwards? Who wants to blow my mind with the number? Let me give it to you, 3 million. 3 million people died and counting, because the war is still happening right now. And I believe there are a lot of soldiers from Great Britain still over there in Afghanistan, or not Afghanistan anymore, but still in Iraq. Unless did it end recently? I think it might have ended last year, something like that. Yeah, I think it went on for 24 years or 23 years. 3 million people died because of 3,000 people dying in New York. You understand? That's this. Whosoever killeth Cain, he shall be slain sevenfold. That happened. That happened. It happens all the time. Come on. Haiti is an amazing example. Give me how many people the French murdered after the Haitian Revolution now. And guess what? They're still murdering them right now. You know, that happened in the 1700s. They have still never forgiven Haiti, and they're still killing them tonight. They're killing them from a revolution that happened in the 1700s. Why? Because whosoever killeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. You can't have an armed revolution against our oppressor, Rock. His destruction comes from heaven. The Most High God is dealing with him. You get my point? Now skip me down to the part about the skin that the brother brought up earlier. And then give me Revelations. This is the faith and the patience in the faith.
Verse 15. And the Most High said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him.
The Lord put a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. The white man is white so that he stands out from everyone else, because every nation is brown but one. All the 12 tribes of Israel are brown. The East Indians are brown. Are they not? The Pakistanis are brown. The Africans are brown. There's only one race that is pink, or what they call today white, which is actually red. And that's so he can stand out like a stop sign, right? A stop sign, like he's red, so that means don't touch him, leave him alone. Why? Because his judgment comes from God, not you. Everyone understands, right? It's right in front of you. That's good. So now years later after that, give me Lamech. So years later after that, there was another person who descended from Cain. They're living in the mountains now. And Cain is gone, but his children are around, and his children's children. And Lamech was a descendant of Cain, and he killed a child. That's what he did. Just like your oppressors today. Give me the story of Lamech and what he did. It's right where the brother read from.
Come on, Khan. Verse 23. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech. I have slain a man to my wounding.
He went to his two wives. This is also more proof that there was more than, two people on the planet Earth with Adam and Eve. That's another Christian lie. Because here's Lamech, is a descendant of Cain. He has two wives. Cain went to those mountains and married women. Where the hell did they come from? Because Adam and Eve were not the first two people on the planet. They were the first two people in the truth. But then Adam left the truth. That's what happened with Adam. Why did he leave the truth? His woman convinced him to leave the truth. And then he left the truth. And after that, he got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Everyone understands? So this is talking about Lamech, who's a descendant of Cain. And he went to his wives and said, what?
I have slain a man to my wounding, a young man to my hurt.
I have slain a man to my wounding, a young man to my hurt. Meaning, I'm going to be punished because I killed someone's son. Just like his forefather. And they're the same. And once again, to understand that, is to have a healthy life. If you want healthy and good mental health, you got to know that el hombre blanco es diablo. Because if not, you're going to have poor mental health. It hurts you in every way. You get hurt by it. He said, listen, I killed a young man and I'm going to be hurt because of it. I'm going to be punished. Then he realized who he was. Then he realized, wait a minute, I'm not going to be punished. I'm white. And so many of them have that revelation. Wait a minute, I'm white. I can do this. I'm allowed to do this. I run everything. Everything is mine. He first thought he was going to be harmed. Then he remembered who he was. Continue.
Verse 24. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold.
If whosoever killeth Cain will be avenged sevenfold, then truly Lamech 7 times 70. I'm going to be fine. No one is allowed to hurt me. I'm white. My skin is marked like Cain's skin is marked. No one can touch me. No one is allowed to harm me. And if they do harm me, there's going to be another Afghanistani war. There's going to be another Haitian war. There's going to be another Iraq war. Everyone understands. You ready to go ahead? Anything online?
Yes, sir.
You got it.
So that means, can you break down Proverbs 27, 19 through 21?
No problem. The water, who's Ashar, give me right words, proper words for the wrong words I was saying. I have to say unalive, destroy, eradicate, and obliterate. The water, Ashar, at our headquarters. Give him a hand. I've destroyed more TikTok accounts than you could possibly imagine. I feel terrible every time. Gee, I'm the water, Ashar. Keep me on. Do your job. I'm gonna ruin the whole school. Go ahead.
Proverbs 7
27.
and 20, 27.
27, 19 through 20.
Come on, guys. I'll get 27, 19. Proverbs 27, verse 19. As in water, as in water face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man.
Say that one more time.
As in water face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man.
Let me get that. I'm trying to sharpen my accent up. It's still a little rough on me. Hold on one second. That accent is strong. Although I've been practicing my British accent. I'm going to let you hear it a little later. I can say one thing in the British accent. Are you ready for it, Michelle? Are you sure? All right, here it comes. Here's my thing I can say. Are you mad? Is he mad? Are you mad? Is he mad, bro? Bro, are you mad? Is he mad? Thank you. I appreciate that. That's all I got, Akad. That's all I got. All right, where were you reading from again?
Proverbs 27 and 19, sir.
Proverbs 27
19.
and 19.
Oh.
Okay, 27.
As in water face
I see it.
answereth to face, so the heart of man to man.
I got it now. The water warrior. Okay, you know how, imagine you looking into a lake, right? And you put your face down into a lake, and what would you see? You see your reflection. And as in water, you are face to face because you see your reflection. You see your reflection. Go ahead.
So the heart of man to man.
So does the heart of man reflect to a man. So meaning the same way if you look into water, you'll see your face. You also can look into a heart or your heart and see your heart. You can see yourself. The same way you can see your image, you can see who you are in here. You get my point? That's what the precept is talking about. It's talking about your other reflection, right? How do you see your other reflection? How do you see your heart? Christians always say that God knows my heart, right? There's only one way to see your heart, and how is that?
By your actions, sir.
By your actions, give him a hand. That's how you know who you are, right? You know who you are. You know what you look like if you look into a stream or look into a lake. You know who you are by looking into your heart. How do you look into your heart? Your actions are how you look into your heart. This is something that our oppressor never does. But if he would do it, he would see who he is. Now, we can't be like him. We have to see who we are before it's too late. You know, everyone understands. Good to go? Is there more? There might be more. What verse are we in again?
19.
1 second.
21. Come on, Consul. Verse 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. There's more to that. My apologies. When it says man to man, what does that mean? Basically the same thing, but take it all the way there. You can see your own reflection when you look into a pool of water, right? Not only can you know yourself by your actions, but other people will know you by your actions. Other people will know your heart by what you do. That's why it says man to man. You get my point? Meaning two people. So he'll know you as well. The same way you know yourself by looking in the mirror, they'll know you because you stole from them. You lied to them. You robbed them. So they know your heart. A person can absolutely know your heart. That's the point. All right? Good to go?
Come on. I think it's 21, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied.
Excellent precept. Hell and destruction are never full. Never. It's like a prison. I remember being a kid, right? And I remember back in America, there was a president named Bill Clinton, right? And he said he was going to stop the overcrowding of the prisons. I remember it so clearly, being young and going, damn, the prisons are overcrowded. Well, this president is going to end overcrowding by doing what? What made absolute sense? Building more prisons, right? The prisons are overcrowded. I remember being a kid going, damn, yeah, they need to build more prisons. There's like 32 people in there in a 2-bedroom person. You should build more prisons. You see, what my young dumbass didn't know is that once they built more prisons, they just filled those up. You get my point? I'm thinking at the time that they'll take the people in prison and give them a nice big new prison to stretch out in. Come to find out, they built more prisons just to overcrowd those. I didn't get that if they built more prisons, they would arrest more people. I didn't understand that. Prisons are never full. You get my point?
Come on.
There is no, what do you call prison over here or something?
Come on, concept.
There's always room in a prison. No matter what, there's always room. That's hell and destruction, General Q. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's never full. There's always room in there. There's always room to cram one more person in hell and destruction and death. Why? Because hell is a condition. Hell is going to jail. Hell is being in poverty. And there's always room for one more. Everyone understands. Keep going.
So, hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied.
So the eyes of man are never satisfied. So now you got it, General. I remember that him and Hillary Clinton, they privatized the prisons in America. So they opened it up so private companies could own the prisons, and they built prisons everywhere. There you go. That's what happened.
I know how to feel those. Same thing that said drug too, like there's more drugs on the streets than there was about.
Oh, please, sorry. Yeah. It's like you got to think about it in reverse. Because hell and destruction never have enough people in it, that's the reason that so many people are lustful. Like having a drug habit is you showing the world that you want to go to jail. It's like declaring it to the earth that I want prison. I want to be in prison. Why? Because the prisons need you. The prisons have room for you. So because of that, you are a drug addict and you do all kinds of scams. But give me some scams they do over here. Over in America, they did these things called PPLs. Have you heard about those? PPO, what's the name of it? PPPs? PPLs. Oh, brother, they were getting these PPLs. I can scamming everyone out of this money they were getting from the government, saying that they were businesses when they were not. And everybody did it, and of course now everybody's going to jail. There's all kinds of schemes and crimes that we think are there to help us. We think this crime is there actually to get us out of poverty, when the crime that's in front of you is there because hell needs you in it. You get my point? Destruction has room for you, and they need you to be a drug addict. And prison is just one type of hell, but there's so much hell out that is waiting for you. I'll give you another one. Marrying a woman you should not marry, brother. Having sex with a woman you should not marry. You're doing that because hell needs you in it. You understand?
Okay.
It's like a condition that will happen because of your what? Read that last verse, that last sentence.
Okay. So the eyes of man are never satisfied.
That's why your eyes are never satisfied. You never have enough. You want more and more and more and more. Why do you want so much more? Because hell wants you in it. You get the point?
Come on, come on.
All right. Go ahead.
Verse 21. As the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise.
We'll read it one more time.
As the finding pot for silver and the furnace for gold, so is a man to his praise.
You got 21?
Come on, cousin.
I totally understand. Who wants to give it a shot? I think you might be able to get this one. Think of the first part. What does a fining pot do for silver? Refinement. You've heard of that term before, right? Refining. And a furnace to gold. What does a furnace do for gold? Purifies gold, right? Men are purified to his praise. Meaning there are things, let me try to describe it, all right? The Bible says that the Lord will make a man more precious than fine gold. The Lord will put a man through the furnace of affliction. That's in the Bible. For gold to be purified, it has to go into fire. It has to be burned. That burning process, it leaches away all of the impurities. If you ever seen it before, you get gold, you make it super duper hot, and then you put it in water or you cool it off. In that process, all of the minerals that are not gold, they leave the gold, right? You melt them away, and what you have left is gold. It's the same process with silver. It's refined. You put it in fire. It gets it so hot, and then when you cool it off, all of the minerals that are not silver leach out in the water. And all you have is fine silver or fine gold. The gold has to go through fire, has to go through pressure to become better. Everybody gets me? Right? That's what a man goes through. You're going to go through fire, go through something rough. You brothers and sisters went through something rough in the UK recently. You went through something rough. That's going to make you better. I've seen it too many times. Let me, since I hope General Yahanna is asleep, I'll tell you something right now. because I hope he has a little jet lag so I can say something I wouldn't ever say if he was here. Let me tell you something. Whenever someone leaves the truth, I get stronger. I've always noticed that. Somehow, I get better. It's like I'm like a vampire and I take their life and it becomes mine. I've been through this so many times. I can't leave the truth. I can feel myself go, oh, he left the truth? Oh, okay. Now listen, I just rose up. I just stepped up. It's like a vampire sucks blood and they get stronger. If someone leaves the truth, I get stronger. That's right. I can feel it where it's like my power increases. It's like he left his sword and I pick up one. And I get to take it and get stronger and stronger and stronger as men get weaker. Because when every man falls weak, it emphasizes my power and dominance over them. And I get stronger because of that. That'll happen to some of you. You're going to have to embrace fire. Embrace it and you begin to love it. Because you know that when you go through it, you are refined through the process. You're better because of it. And now because you've been through this fire and you've been through all types of punks leaving the truth and all types of traitors and people who are less than honorable leaving the truth, all of a sudden it puts a heavier burden on you. And then when men see you carry it, they go, he's worthy to be praised. Look how he stepped up. Look how he stepped in. Look what he did after faggots left the truth. He went and stepped in. He went and look at this cat now. Look at him now. Look what he did. He didn't fall and go crying. He didn't turn cur and turn to some puppy. He went and stepped up. Oh, men will praise you up. I know because that's what I live. I came to the truth. There was hundreds of men between me and Commanding General Yahanna. Bit by bit, they all started to fall away. And now I'm right next to them. That's right. I got stronger. I got better. You know. And just so you know, I can always use more strength. I pray you understand. And I'm in Scotland. And here I am in Scotland. To drink scotch in Scotland throughout. Give him a hand. You're correct. All right. You get the point, I believe. Everybody understands what I'm saying, right? Any other questions? Come on.
So like I said, how is the oppressor able to like unalive black people, have a history of unaliving black people, enslaving black people, and they also have a history of being known for tea and crumpets and being polite, and no one even remembers people like Thomas Thistlewood and the oppression of black people. No one even thinks about it. Everyone thinks of the Queen, tea and crumpets, royal family, and the history's there. It's not even far history. Everyone just forgets about it. How is it possible? How can he do that?
Well, okay, I'll give you the simple answer and then the biblical answer. The simple answer is that history books are written by the victor.
Oh.
That's an old saying. You can look that up. The people who teach the history are the people who killed your grandmother.
Cool.
And of course, when they go to teach it, what do they say? We're the positive people. We're the polite people. We're the kind people. Because they're the people writing the books. They're the people teaching your children. Them. You get my point? And they're not going to speak negatively about themselves. Right? And I can guarantee if you went to Germany in 1942 when Hitler was around, they'd be talking about Germany like it was the sweetest, most loving place in the world. Why? Because they were in charge. After World War II, then Germany became the most evil place on the planet because they lost. And so whoever is in charge writes the history book. He decides what history says. Him. Give me that. It's a quote, famous quote. Who said it? History is written by the victors, or the people who win. Now here's the biblical answer. You want to go to out of his mouth come frogs. It's in the book of Revelations. All manner of unclean beasts proceedeth out of his mouth. Here's the amazing gift that our oppressor has. He, at the same time, he's blessed with the sword to be able to murder, to be able to unalive and destroy people. And he is a skillful liar. So he just lies. And his lies prevail. Why? Because he's in charge. He writes the history books. He's the one that decides what's true and what's not. If you have the one I asked for about toads, or it's in Revelations.
Come on.
Ain't that something? Winston Churchill said that. Yeah, Winston Churchill said that the victor writes the history. He's the one that decides, who was great and who was not great. But it's not because it's true, it's because he won. So he gets to say, Adolf Hitler, you're evil, because why? Because you killed people because of their race. God damn. Are you sure that's what makes people evil? I don't know. Seems like you approve of that. Imagine what was going on in 1942 when they said Adolf Hitler was the evilest thing ever because he killed 6 million people because of their race. In America, there were already 90 million people killed in slavery, 77 million people killed there were so-called North American Indian. My God, countless Caribbean people. I mean, millions of you already killed. But Hitler, he's the racist. He's evil. That's because they wrote the history book. So since Great Britain wrote the book, they get to call Adolf Hitler evil. And of course, the Queen is the mother, and she's wonderful, and she's a bastion of freedom. When who in the hell has enslaved more people in Great Britain? That's right. Who has murdered, who has unalived more people than Great Britain? But Great Britain won the war. So they're able to say, Hitler, you're evil, and we're wonderful. That's the short answer. Come on. Oh. Give him a hand. What he's saying is the damn truth. That's what's happening where I come from in America, in Florida. You go to school and they're saying slavery taught you a lot of skills. You learned how to pick cotton, didn't you? All right then. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You learned how to pick cotton. Everybody, come on. Go ahead.
Revelation 16.
Warrior right here. Let me get him first. Go ahead.
Slaki, sir. Is there any reason or any records of why the prophet Moses didn't record Joseph and his family going into Egypt through drought and famine, but the apostle Paul did?
I don't understand you. One more time. Speak up a little bit, please.
Salaki, sir. In Deuteronomy 22:10, Moses records that 70 of our people went into Egypt in famine and drought.
Right.
But in Hebrews 7:14, the records of the apostle Paul, he records there was 75. My understanding is that was Joseph and his family.
Okay, I've never heard that about the Joseph and his family. I can't verify that is true. I just don't remember it. Some things I've just forgotten, but I don't recall that. But I do know this about the Bible. The Bible is written by Black people and Hispanics, and they are not sticklers for numbers in the Bible. Like, numbers in the Bible they're not like Roman accountants. So over the years, you can find so many things about this number, that number, this number, that number. And there's no numbers in the Bible are not strictly accurate like an accountant is writing it in a Roman synagogue. You get my point? Numbers are loose. So 70, thing like Black people talk. I would assume you do the same thing over here. Where numbers are not, exact. Numbers are kind of in general. You understand? Give me some numbers you have over here that are in general numbers. They're not the exact same thing. Like, I guarantee this class was supposed to start at 7. Are you mad? I knew it wasn't starting at 7. I'm calling the shot. I said, just tell me when to show up. I do that in every city. I know. Just tell me when to show up. I'll show up. Numbers to us don't mean that, right? It was over in America. It was this tribe of Gad, the North American Indian, had the worst time integrating into white society because of time, because of having to be at a job at 9 a.m. You understand that? To us, it was 9 a.m. Is 9:15 9 a.m.? Yeah. 9:15 is really 9 a.m. You look at him like, what is 9:15? What's your problem? That's not how we are. To understand numbers in the Bible, just remember that your people wrote it. That's all you need. Not white people. Your people wrote this thing. So 9 o'clock, you know, the party starts at what time? Benjamin party start at what? On the flyer, 10. In reality, midnight till 2 a.m. You get my point. So just that's whenever you read the Bible, just remember that whenever you see a number. But because we were raised under oppressors, we can read the Bible through white eyes. And so we look at it like 35 years, 72 years, when that's not how we think. That's right. That is really not important to us. Like, how old was Jesus Christ? There's a whole debate. How old was he? Was he 33? Was he 34? Who knows? That is not something that we care about because we're not white people. You understand? And so now the whole thing about Joseph, I don't recall hearing that ever in my life. Hearing the thing about Joseph. You know, whenever I bring up, I teach on that, I teach that 70 souls came into Egypt. Done. Now, could it have been a few more? Okay. If you want, you know, that's up to you. Everybody gets it, right? See me one more time, Warrior. Go ahead.
Ephesians 2:2, where it says, wherein time past you walked according to the course of this world.
Whose question is for? Who's this for?
With Karathia, when he was asking, how come the history is there that
Okay, I got you now. Go ahead.
Wherein time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
That's a good one. That's an absolutely good one. He's the Lord of the air, meaning his lies are everywhere. Everywhere. Go ahead.
So actually, another one, how they make the South in the UK appear white and pure. They ban firearms as well, but meanwhile, their police shoot us.
Yeah, ain't that something? I'm very familiar with that. You can't carry a firearm at all, but the police, of course, can shoot you and unalive you all they want. That's oppression. That's how it works. It's to make you afraid and terrified day and night. It's to terrorize you. That's correct. Go ahead.
Also, 2 Thessalonians 2:7. For if the mystery of iniquity does already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
One more thing, can I grab some ice from you? That's another perfect precept, because the mystery of iniquity already doth work. What's the mystery of iniquity? No one knows who the evil person is. It's a mystery. Who's the devil? Who's at fault? I don't know. As far as I know, they're just drinking tea and having nice parades. And you got the white man with the big furry hat, and he's happy, and everything is happy, and no one knows anything. That's the mystery of iniquity. And so because of that, only he that let will let, meaning the Most High has to let you know the truth, or else you will never know the truth, because the lie is in the air. The lie is everywhere. Everyone understands. Come on.
Remember during COVID, when Britain was lockdown, they was fining you if you was in your car with other people, even if there was family members. Meanwhile, Boris, crazy, he was having parties in 10 down the street. He budgets in wine, ridiculous budgets of wine, and they in there partying.
I remember.
But he finding everybody else.
Like, that's the classic white hypocrisy. In the back, you got it up. Mike, they'll give you the microphone so we can hear you. All right.
Counsel, I've got a precept for that. This is Revelation 12 and Revelation chapter 12 verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Yeah, that is a precept. Give him a hand. Absolutely. The water warrior. Absolutely. Anything else?
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That's it. Like a flood of lies. And the Bible says in Revelations how toads and unclean beasts come out of his mouth. Right? Unclean lies and filth come out of his mouth. So now the world thinks that he's, benevolent and kind and generous. And meanwhile, your body is in the ground. Yes, that's correct. Anything else, Mashak?
Gene Daddy and Silaki out of can I get a breakdown on Job 7:14? I guess Job 7:14 through 17.
Go ahead. Whenever you have it, go ahead and read it.
Job 7.
14 through 17.
Job chapter 7, verse 14. Then thou scarest me with dreams, and terrifiest me through visions. Verse 15. So that my soul chooseth struggling and death rather than my life.
Where are we at again now?
Job 7.
Job chapter 7.
Verse 14 through 17. He going into verse 16 now.
Job 7. And what?
Verse 14 through 17.
Oh, no, I'm going to go through out of word.
Oh, so, you
said through 17, you said.
Verse 6.
Okay, this is, let me try to start. You said you wanted to start at, what was the question starting at?
Verse 14.
You better start at 13 and go down to. Okay, go ahead and read. Is there something in specific? It's kind of long. Is there a specific question? Okay, this is Job speaking about the whole book of Job. Really is about him trying to wrestle with the understanding that these tragedies could be happening to him, yet him not understanding why they were happening. That's the book of Job. Him wrestling back and forth with these terrible things happen. He doesn't know why they would happen. He doesn't understand why they happen until finally at the end he says, I abhor myself. He blamed himself, and then the Most High delivered him from those tragedies because Satan told the Most High that if Job was cursed, he would turn against the Most High. Many men do things like that, where if they begin to lose money, if they begin to need money, they'll hate God over that. They'll hate the UPK, they'll hate the truth because they need money, because they're stressed over money. So then they begin to hate you, right? Because they can't blame themselves. You get my point? All right, so Satan told the Most High that Job would turn on him if Job's life went down the tubes. If Job began to be poor and to suffer, he believed that Job would turn against the Most High. In the end, Job showed the Most High that he would not turn against him, even in great distress. Then the Most High stopped the punishment. You understand? So what we're reading now is that struggle. It's him struggling to understand. Go ahead and read.
Job chapter 7 and verse 13. When I say, my bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaints. Verse 14. Then thou scarest me with dreams and terrifiest me through visions.
So now remember, his everyday waking life is hell. Then he says to himself, when I go to sleep, I'm going to finally get some peace. My couch will finally comfort me. But then when he sleeps, he has nightmares. So his complaint is like, when is this torment going to end? When I'm awake, I'm poor and I lost my children and I lost everything. And I tell myself, okay, when I go to sleep at night, at least that will be my rest. But then even when he sleeps, the Most High gives him nightmares, which is what we're talking about right now. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 16. Verse 15. So that my soul chooseth struggling and death rather than life.
So that the nightmares are so terrible that he'd rather be awake. He'd rather struggle and fight while he's awake because the nightmares at night are so terrible. So he'd rather die than be alive. Job began to be suicidal because he began to think that there was no peace for him, no rest. And that's why the book of Job is so informative to us today, because this happens today. If you're ever in a situation where you're going through something terrible and you don't know why the Most High did it, you can't rationalize it because you're not doing things that would make you deserve this type of treatment that you're getting from God. Always remember Job, you're in a test. If either you deserve to be punished or you're being tested, one or the other. Most of you deserve it. That's just the truth of you. The evil things that are happening to you, you got coming to you. That's the mirror, the water. Now, there are a rare few of you that are being tested, but that's rare. All right? So, but some of you are being tested. And Job thought he could run from his test while he was asleep. He cannot. Because the Most High, he's a man. That's the best way to understand him. He's a man of war, and when he wants to test you, he's coming to get you. So you try to go to sleep, he's coming at you while you're sleeping. He's coming at you while you're awake. He will not stop until you show him that you are worthy of the blessing he wants to give you. And so that's what this precept is about. He's getting no peace when he's asleep. He's having a nightmarish life when he's awake. He's having nightmares when he sleeps. He would rather be dead. Continue.
It's too much to say. You could use it like twofold meaning. Like, brothers or sisters will choose drugs to stay asleep.
Forget about it.
You know what I mean? And you take it to stay asleep, but it's still, when you wake up, it's night.
It doesn't help. Many people get on drugs because they can't sleep. So they get on drugs to go to sleep, and then they need another drug to wake up. You need the cocaine to wake up. You need the pills to go to sleep. You're in hell, and you want to get out of life. You get my point? You don't want to be alive. You don't want to be awake or asleep. You want to be dead, which is where Job got to in his struggle. Continue.
Another one, verse 16. I loathe it. I would not live.
You get that, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Salakia. I loathe it. I will not live always. Let me alone, for my days are vanity.
Yeah, his days mean nothing. So he just wants to die. This is being suicidal, where he just wants to die. If that's his question. Was that it? Whenever you're ready. Confirm? Oh, you suck. I'm sorry. Never mind. Select.
That's it on the questions.
Okay.
Shalom, Adon. This is Ryan. Shalom, Adon. Can I get a breakdown on Psalms 8 and 2?
No problem. You got it.
Khan. The book of Psalms, chapter 8, verse 2. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger.
That's an excellent precept. Where is that again?
Psalms 2 and 8, sir.
You want to give me
8 and 2,
delivered
sir.
this? Give me the delivered this unto babes in the book of Acts, I believe it is, right? Let me catch up with you real fast, Doc. You said Psalms 2 and 8.
Psalms 8 and 2.
Psalms 8.
What's that? Acts
and 2. He wants me to break this down just this one verse?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read it.
Psalms. Khan. The book of Psalms, chapter 8, verse 2. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou mightest,
Hast thou what?
hast thou ordained strength because of thine
That's what you need
enemies.
right there. That's all. Stop right there for a second. Out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast thou ordained truth. Is that what you said?
God one cancer.
That's a precept for how the Most High God chose the young people to do something that the old people would never do. The Christian church has been around, my God, since when? Jesus, since the Renaissance? Here in Great Britain, the Renaissance. That's how long the Christian church has been around. Many of you think that you believe Christianity is real because it's a revelation from God, but really you believe Christianity is real because you have eaten it your entire life.
Right.
You understand? It's your baby's food. It's what you've always eaten. Like, what we're saying is completely different than what you learn your entire life. And because of that, it seems like it's not true. But why? Because your milk that you've been sucking for your entire life is that we're racist. This is wrong. Jesus loves everybody. Mary did not have sex. You're not having a revelation about Mary not having sex to make Jesus. It is what you have been eating your entire life. Everyone eats it. 2.8 billion people eat it. And you like eating what you've been eating. The problem is the Most High God chose babies to have the truth. Not the reverends and what do they call the people over here in charge of the religions? The Church of England. The bishop, the archbishop. Like, these people believe that Mary never had sex when she had a child. And they're in charge, and they've been around since the Renaissance. And so because of that, the majority of people believe in them, and even you will believe in them because this is what you grew up learning. But the truth comes from children, from someone young, from someone that is not giving you the exact same thing that the Archbishop of Canterbury is giving you over here. It's completely different. I'll give you a precept you need to understand it. Go to the mouths of babes in the book of Acts, I believe. It's a direct precept to what you're reading here. If you're asking me because you think little 5-year-olds, you got to listen to them, that's not what this is talking about. This is a metaphor for how young the truth is. The truth has been around since 1969. How long has Christianity been around? The Renaissance. Since the 1700s. Everybody gets it. The truth is the baby. The truth is young. The truth comes out of the mouths of babes because the truth has only existed since 1969. But the Most High God said that's where the truth will come from the babies. You got it? I'm sorry, that's the one. Salakia. Mm-hmm.
1 Corinthians 1 and 22.
1 Corinthians 3, verse 1 and 2.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ.
That's a good one, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Let me hear that.
And said unto him, Hearest thou what these say? And Jesus said unto them, Yea, have ye never read, out of the mouth of babes and the suckling thou hast perfected praise.
That's the exact precept for what he's reading. It's not the one I'm referring to. Let me get it for you. Let me hear it.
An instructor of the foolish and teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in law.
That's not it. Bear with me 1 second. I think it's in the book of Acts.
I
I think it says the foolishness of preaching is right around it.
Matthew 11 and 25.
Those are all the precepts for this same thing. It all means the same thing. That the ones who have the truth won't be your traditional Sadducee and Pharisee. The traditional people that your grandmother listened to while she was poor and dying, your grandfather listened to, your great-grandfather listened to the same lie. And as you become a man, if you're not careful, you'll believe the same lie that the old people listen to. The truth comes from the baby. And the truth has been around since 1969. And because of that, everyone hates. I therefore prophesy that the apostles were brought forth last. That's the one I'm looking for. All of the ones you pulled were absolutely precepts. But the one I'm looking for is that the apostles were brought forth last. That's why they're the babies. The baby is a metaphor for the fact that the apostles were last. The brothers will give it to you now. Mm-hmm. There's a precept for the brother. He needs all the ones y'all gave him, and he needs this one to understand what babies are. You got it up?
Verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9. For I think that God hath set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were.
The apostles what? He brought forth the apostles what?
As the apostles, last.
Last is the part you want to emphasize. Last. Because all of those sects and religious beliefs, they have been around since the Greeks, since the Romans. And everyone trusted them regardless of how it, negatively affected their lives. But the Most High God brought forth the apostles last. Right. The Israelite school of UPK has only existed in the last days. That's it. That's when we came on the scene in 1969, right? Harlem, New York, right? The Lord brought forth the apostles last. Keep going.
God on God.
That is one of the things Christians go to, like when you start cutting them. The first question, one of the questions they ask is, how long have you been around? How long have you been around?
Forget about it.
And you tell them next, you are just.
Oh, no. You didn't know the Reverend Dr. Martin Bobble. You didn't know. You didn't know all of these old muckety mucks. Give me some famous preachers you got over here everybody loves. No West Indian preachers everybody loves over here? Just all Edomite preachers. Who runs the religions over here? Who's a famous, The Pakistanis. Damn that. All right, continue.
God, as it were appointed to death.
Meaning why? Because we're last, everyone hates us. Because we're not saying the things that your mother says. We're not saying the things your grandfather says. We're saying something completely different. So because we're so different, this doctrine makes everyone hate us. And so we're last, which is like being appointed to death because everyone hates what we say. Because we don't say what the traditional religious people say. Mary never had sex. God loves everyone. Jesus Christ's color doesn't matter. No one is going to harm you over saying that. That's accepted by everyone. But what we're saying is not. You understand? Keep going.
God, for we are made a spectacle unto the world.
That's us. We're made a spectacle unto the world. You see us, brother, in this room, like people look at us like we are absolutely crazy. We are lunatics for what? Not getting high and not believing that Mary had Mary had a baby without sex. We're the crazy ones. We're crazy for thinking that because we believe you need to have sex to make babies. So we're insane. We're crazy for thinking that the people that enslaved you and then deported you, that they're evil. We're the lunatics. Okay, I get you. All right, keep going.
God, and to angels and to men.
Everyone thinks we are crazy. Everything thinks we're out of our goddamn mind. Why? Because we are not traditional to the average religious person, and we don't say what they say. And people just want to eat what they've been eating. They want to drink what they're used to drinking. They want to live the life that their grandmother and their grandfather lived, and that is not the kind of life that God wants you to live. Right. Everyone understands. Anything else, Mashak? That was it up. Let me know when you want me to wrap it up. Right? Go ahead.
But we just have a few more. This is from Mashab and Yahawada. Salakia, can Deuteronomy 28 and 25 be a precept for the 7 times scripture of King.
Okay, let's hear it.
Carter and Khan. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed.
Let me stop. This is a precept about the nation of Israel. This is not about Cain. The 7 is irrelevant. The 7, just like with Cain, 7 times 70, 7-fold. What I was telling the brother about numbers. The 7 is irrelevant. The 7 just means a lot. You understand? 7 times 70. That just means a lot. That's all. To a black or Hispanic person. You understand? So this is about us. This is a prophecy about the nation of Israel and about our destruction. Read it from the top.
Carter and Khan. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies.
That's what happened to us. We were smitten in the face of our enemies. Our enemies watched it. And they must feel so good every day watching you get deported. I mean, can you imagine how that really reinforces their superiority when they see that you are being deported. When they see your poverty, they look at their own lives with a little more brightness.
Right.
They feel a little better about being white when they look at you. Continue.
Khan. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
That says you go out one way to go fight them and you flee in 7 directions running away from them. Continue.
Khan. And shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
And then you're deported. Then you're sent to Jamaica and sent to Trinidad and sent wherever you can find a job. It's damn near you can almost plot the migration of black people by where are poor people and where is there a job at. And you'll just, before you know it, you'll see just all of them by the millions leaving someplace to go to another place where they might find work. And that's that precept. You understand. Anything else? Shock whenever you're ready.
So Britain has a contract with Rwanda now. So instead of Rwanda, yeah. So instead of taking immigrants, like people like African countries will make it to France. From the make it to France, but before Brexit, if you make it to France, because of the European Union, you're allowed to come to England as well. So now England got a new contract that if you're a legal immigrant, they can give you to Rwanda, and you're Rwanda's problem now.
And so, you got Benjamites going to live in Rwanda.
No, not necessarily Benjamites. Anyone seeking asylum.
Whoever wants to go live in Rwanda.
Anyone talking about, they feel threatened.
Benjamin might think, okay, he gonna get asylum here. He leave thinking he coming here.
And then, wait a minute. So Benjamin thinks he's coming to Birmingham. He get on the boat and go, where's this boat? Where y'all going? He must look out the window like, where are all these flies coming from? Captain, where are we? You in Rwanda, Nathaniel. You going to Rwanda? God damn, jump out and swim. Get out and swim back to Trinidad. Go ahead, Doc.
On the back of asylum seeking, the UK accepted 250,000 Ukrainians. And you think that the Ukrainians, like, they're dodging bullets and running for their lives. They came to England and they were saying, we don't want to be around black people and we don't want to be in black neighborhoods. And you think they'll just be happy just to be safe?
Listen, the Ukrainians that come here are going to treat you like you are a second-class citizen. They're going to treat you terribly in all of their stores and their businesses. And don't get me started on those Africans. The Africans that come over here to Great Britain treat the West Indians as if you are a second-class citizen. They treat you like, I've been doing so much research on the culture in Great Britain between Africans and West Indians. And the Africans think that they're really British people and that they're smart and that they take good care of their children and that you are just a poor, low-class slave and they want nothing to do with you. It was some sitcom the brothers sent me out that was so perfect that crystallized it. I sent it to you, Machak. Play that for the people. I guess we can't show it to them, but you can hear it. And I watched it and I said, damn, this is how they think. And it bear true to all the research I did. And that the Africans think like the West Indians are slaves. And you're poor and you're dirty, and they are, of course, really British citizens. And they have African names. You know, they have African names, which means they're not slaves because they have African names, and you're poor and you're a West Indian. And you've been living here under the Africans, hating yourself. And how have you suffered it? Like, how do you, it's difficult for me to understand. You look at this African, he's an African. He has not done what the West Indians have done for Great Britain. How are you here with him and him feeling superior to you? Someone give me some stories of how the Africans think that they're superior to the West Indians over here. Do you have any incidents that you can talk about in your life, or having an African friend that thought he was better than you? Forget about an African woman. I'm sure you think that you have some prize because you can go out and get some aristocratic African woman who is a piece of garbage who thinks that you're a piece of garbage. If you don't have any, Mashaka will play the video real fast, all right? Oh, they can't hear it in the room. The people online will hear it. Go ahead, Warren.
Yeah, Africans see that Caribbean people don't go to university. Meanwhile, they do.
Ain't that something? So they think you never go to university. Meanwhile, they're all doctors and lawyers and barristers going to university, correct? Like that is like, damn, think about how many years you're here in Great Britain fighting your way to become equals with white people. At the same time, new races come and get over top of you. So now you're like, well, maybe one day we could be treated like white people. Here come the Pakistanis, here come the Indians, here come the Irish, here come the Africans. You just keep going backwards. Come on.
No black, no dark, no Irish. And the Irish was who with us?
Yeah, the Irish, of course, because the Irish were hated by people in Great Britain. But then, of course, they made peace with the Irish. And now both of them are free to hate you. I mean, before you know it, now it'll be the Ukrainians. Now the Ukrainians will be owning all the stores and selling you hair and fingernails. You'll be getting that from the Ukrainians. And then before you know it, the Rwandans will be over here to be over top of you. And the more you try to climb up the ladder to success, more people jump ahead of you in line. And you never get to the top. Come on.
I remember with Commander Yahanna with the camp DC. When they had you robbed, I live in camp down there in DC.
The Glenbeck rally, when this Edomite came and said that you're never going to reach that top bar because the more closer you get, the higher it gets raised right on top of you.
There you go.
And that was something that was said out in camp.
That's a fact. We good to go here? Any questions you want me to deal with? Any questions in the room? Sisters, no questions? It's all right. Don't worry. Go ahead.
I want Isaiah 46.
Whenever you're ready,
come on. Yeah, Isaiah 46 and 11. Verse 11.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 11. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executeth my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have proposed it. I will also do it.
Read it one more time.
Khan.
There's something in particular now you thought. Just that verse. Go ahead and read it.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 11. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executeth my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass.
I'm missing something. Hold on, let me try to catch it. Where you at?
Isaiah 46.
Isaiah 46 and 11. All right. Okay, go ahead and read.
Khan, the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 11. Calling a ravenous bird from the east.
Read 8.
Khan, verse 8. Remember this and shew yourselves men.
What does that mean? Remember this and show yourselves men. That is a major part of being an officer in the UPK. Being in the UPK, if I could try to crystallize it when it comes to how we battle, you're going to have to be a man. You're going to have to be what most people would call ultra masculine, something that most people don't think is necessary, although their lives are in want of a man, or in want of someone that will step up and do what he said he was going to do, even in the face of losing his own life. The Most High is talking about something that he is going to do to the nation of Israel. And when it happens, he wants to see you become a man in it. He wants to see you behave yourself as a man when he doesn't. Continue.
Khan, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, all ye transgressors.
Meaning, I'm going to punish you, I'm going to hurt you. And I expect you to show yourself a man during it. I expect you to bring yourselves again, meaning bring yourselves back. I expect you, when I give you this punishment, I expect you to step up into it and embrace it like a man.
Right.
Continue.
Khan, remember the former things of old, for I am God.
Remember what?
Remember the former things of old.
So think about the life that we live in here, man. I mean, the things we're doing, the way we dress, the way we talk, I mean, it is ancient. It's old. It's the way our people were before the influences of the other nations. Remember those things. What are some of the oldest things that we remember are the laws, the commandments of God. These things aren't followed by the masses of 2.5 billion Christians today, but this is what our forefathers did thousands of years ago.
Right.
And we remember them today and we keep them today.
That's right.
Continue.
Khan. And there is none else.
And there is nothing else. Keep going.
Khan. I am God, and there is none like me.
And there is none like him. There is one God on this earth, brother. And this whole spirit in Great Britain of all the races and religions coming together, it insults God. Because there is nothing like him. There is no one else like him. And you are, because you want peace with the Pakistanis and the oppressors and the Africans, you have diluted the word of God to gain peace for yourself. But it insults God. Continue.
Khan. Declaring the end from the beginning.
That's what he always has done. From the book of Genesis, he's declared the end. He's told us exactly what was going to happen in the future. And he's always been right. Continue.
Khan. And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done.
You get that? Keep going.
Khan, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
I think I just broke that down to you. The Most High's counsel will stand. It's going, what he says is going to happen is going to happen, and he will do all his pleasure. Let me explain that in your language. He's going to do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
That's what he's going to do, and that's hard to understand when you grow up a Christian, because you think God is there to serve you. I've seen that so many times in the UPK. Some fool comes into the UPK and thinks that this school is here for him, to serve him, to serve her. What are you going to do for me? Come help me. Will you help me? You're here to help the school, not for the school to help you. I mean, it's the strangest thing in the world to me. I remember John Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I remember Benedict Arnold being someone who's talked about how much he did for America and how he was in charge of West Point. Benedict Arnold was a famous trader in America who at one time was a general over West Point. And then he thought that they didn't give him the rank raise he deserved. And now it was time for him to go join the British Empire. I believe there's statues of Benedict Arnold over here. Am I wrong? Yeah, there are no statues of Benedict Arnold in America. None. There's a law in America where you cannot write Benedict Arnold's name on any stone. So he's not allowed to have a headstone at a grave. There can be nothing written with his name on it. And that's a law in America today. Because of that, his burial site, there's a statue of him in Great Britain. Tell me where the statue is of Benedict Arnold. There's a law on the books today that there can be nothing carved with his name in it to make sure he could never have a headstone because he was an effing traitor. You get my, come on. Has his boots? I think there's a statue here, but just tell me where it is. You'll look it up and it'll be fine. The whole point of this, read that last part again.
Khan. My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
He's going to do what he wants to do. It's hard to get if you're Christian because you think God is like your big daddy. You think God is like a nice old uncle, who you get on his lap and he gives you whatever you want, does whatever you want, gives you money on your birthday, puts a dollar into your. You got the tooth fairy over here. It gives you a pound. How much is a tooth fairy giving this day for some teeth? What does he offer us? Nothing in your house. Nothing. You put a tooth under your pillow. The next day you got a dirty tooth under there. Balloon full of laughing gas. That you think God is a genie for your pleasure to give you what you want. That is not how he is. He does what he wants. You do what he wants. That's the kind of relationship we have with him. Our relationship is not where I'll serve God if he'll pay all my bills, if he'll give me all my pleasures and give me the woman of my dreams and the man of my dreams. Then I will serve God. That is not how our relationship is. We serve him and shut our effing mouths about it. And that's that. And to understand that is to be a better servant of God. To get that he's not trying to please you. You are trying to please him, but he's not trying to please you. General.
How they went and fell for the lie of the so-called white man. They fell for it and ran up here or what have you. Now, if you go back home to Jamaica, Trinidad, I was reading a story, put it in one of the chats, how they stole all the beaches. Like you can't even go to the beach in your land. Like the white man from America came down there with all the corporations and of course from over here as well and stole all the beaches while you came up here to work and slave for them to build up after World War II. And then they just deport you back and you can't even be on your own land to, go to the beach. You can't even get in the damn water or fish when you surrounded by water and you can't even touch it because, they done took everything because we keep running from pillar to post. You understand? Right. Falling for every damn lie that they say out of their mouth towards us or what have you. We got to stop being weak up under these people and the way that they, they smiling in your face but stabbing you in your back the whole goddamn time.
Yeah, man. Raphael and Mike.
So like I said, another thing that happened in World War II as well, like while Caribbean people's fighting for our oppressors' war, taking it serious, the oppressor had something called the Christmas truce, where him and the Germans will just one day they will go to no man's land and play football, exchange gifts. Meanwhile, we're getting our limbs blown off, fighting for them. That's what and both of them are having fun.
That what the officer is saying is the Christmas Day truce. It was World War I or World War II?
I'm not too sure,
I think it was World War I. That was back when they fought in trenches. So to be a trench here and a trench there. And they're shooting at each other. And in the middle, it's called no man's land. Because you couldn't be in the middle because you would get shot by the people on either side. But on Christmas Day, one day in World War I, they had a Christmas Day truce. where they got out the trenches and went and played football with each other. And they're kicking the ball around and having a good time and loving each other. And then that was the truce for Christmas Day. It was towards the end of the war. And meanwhile, our people are dying for that war and hoping that our death will award our children citizenship, will allow them to be treated like real British citizens. And of course, they were not. What you're saying is absolutely true. Rashad.
Don't go back to a story about a soldier who dropped a brick on his head. If you could tell me.
So there was a brother, I think his name was Charles Wotton. So he fought in World War I. He was like he was one of the top soldiers. So he helped them win World War I. Then after the war was ended, the Edomites in his region in Liverpool, they started to burn down all the black people's houses. And then he wasn't involved in it, so he ran out of his house. And then he ran to the police officers, and the police officers couldn't help him. So instead of facing the mob of Edomites, he jumped in the water. And as he jumped in the water, they've hit him with rocks, and one's knocked him unconscious and he's drowned. And the people who done it got not guilty. They just put it down to drowning and not murder.
And what was his name?
Charles Wotton.
Charles Wotton.
You
should remember him because no one else will. Well said, Doc. Well said. Michelle.
Have a memorial for the soldiers. The difference between the two.
Also, they have a cenotaph. They have the cenotaph for the soldiers, the Edomite soldiers in. It's in a posh part of London, and it's like a skyscraper. Then they have one for the Caribbean soldiers, which is just tucked away against the wall in Brixton. It's short. It's about 5 foot. It's about 5 foot, and that's all they have. So what you will have is every year the Queen will go put flowers on the cenotaph for the soldiers that she respects, and then the one in Windrush Square, no one puts flowers there. The Queen never visited in her life. So
It's not even like if nobody tell you that, you wouldn't know.
Imagine some bastard will tell us that God loves them like he loves us. He loves us all the same. No. Rashad. Okay. Any more questions? How long can we go? Oh, you let me know. It don't matter to me the time. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, sis.
Slucky, sir. I was in the kitchen when I wanted to ask the question. It was just a breakdown of 1 Corinthians 10. Throughout the chapter, Paul says that the Israelites were sacrificing animals to foreign gods, just like the Gentiles were. Was he talking about like the Gentiles, actual like heathens, or like Israelites who have left?
Let me check it out for you. Where is it at?
The what?
Okay, what is it, sister?
Okay. 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 10.
Okay. 1 Corinthians 10 and what? Where was it at, sis? 1 Corinthians 10 and what? Don't take it. No problem. Let me see. I got you. Yes, 1 Corinthians 10 and 20.
Khan, the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let me see where I can skip you up. Read 18. I think that helps her out. 18. Go ahead. We're gonna start up at 18, sis. All right. All right. Go ahead.
Khan, the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 18. Behold, Israel, after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar?
I'm sorry. What did I say? Start from again?
Verse 18, sir.
That's what you need. Read that again.
Khan, the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 18. Behold, Israel, after the flesh.
You're making a comma where there's no comma. There's no pause.
Khan,
Say
sir.
it straight through. Go ahead.
Behold, Israel, after the flesh.
What does that mean? Behold, Israel after the flesh. What does that mean, sister? Give her a hand. It's right there in front of you. Now, do you understand what that means, the fact that it's there? Behold Israel after the flesh. Meaning what? That there were people who were trying to act like Israelites who were not Israel after the flesh. That's in 1 Corinthians 10. That they were not actual Israelites, but they were people who were trying to keep our customs and keep our laws and were Jewish, but they were not actually Israelites. Paul is making it clear that he's talking to the Israelites after the flesh. You understand? The Israelites of the flesh. You get it, correct? Sister, you got it? Keep going.
Khan. Are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar?
Meaning, if you eat the sacrifice that was sacrificed to some idol, aren't you partaking of that idol's, what's the word for it? The idol's table, the altar. Meaning, you're eating from the altar of an idol, which means you're joined to the idol. If you eat the Christmas, give me some Christmas customs over here. You got Boxing Day, right? What do you have on Christmas Day? Anything? It's not a big deal. Christmas is Boxing Day the big deal with Christmas over here? I got you. And Boxing Day, what do you do on Boxing Day? There you go. So if you're eating the food of Boxing Day, you're partaking in an idol's altar. Like this is dedicated to this idol, which is the God of Christmas.
What about the stuff you do, like leading up to?
Break it down.
Okay, like I know for Benjamin houses, during like Christmas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like intense cleaning, traumatizing for kids.
Oh, yeah.
All the way up to
Yeah.
Christmas, where it's like this house has to be clean.
Yeah.
Spick and new paint and all that shit.
That's all the worship of another god. That cleaning that they do around Christmas is about the god Janus usually. Janus, it matters how you end the year, because if you end the year like this, the whole year will be like this. It's a superstition that started with the worship of this god Janus. And it really matters how you end the year. And because Christmas is around the end of the year, you have to clean the house. Because if you don't clean it, then it will be dirty all year. That's the worship of another god. General Q. Yeah, the tribe of Judah.
And I believe they had one more
collard greens.
Collard greens and the black eyed peas, of course. But then it was some superstition in Judahite houses about how you don't want a woman to come through your front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, it go right with the Janus.
A woman can't be the first one that comes to the door on New Year's Eve. Say again? Wait, break that down. I don't remember.
A woman wants, Salakia. A woman, I believe, wants a man to come through the door. Like a woman, she don't want another woman to come,
I got
or
you.
she gonna be single for the next year.
Because I got you now. I get it now. Right. The point is, all of that is nonsense. All right, and it's a superstition, sis. What do the Benjamites eat on? Is it a particular thing you eat, or you just eat curry goat and that's that? Go ahead. Say again. I understand. All of that is you worshiping the God of Christmas. What you should do on a Boxing Day is act like it's just another day. So it's a discipline. So now you might eat Benjamite food every day. And if you do, then eat Benjamite food that day. But what you want to do is just have the discipline to say, I'm getting up this day and it's just another day. I'm doing nothing different. So if you would eat Benjamite food every day, eat it today too. If you would clean every day, then clean it that day too. Just do whatever you would do if it wasn't the Christmas season. You get my point. All right. Or else you are eating from the idol of another god. Keep going. Whoever has it.
Khan, verse 19. What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is up.
1 second. What am I saying then? Am I saying the idol is anything? If I tell you not to eat the food offered to an idol, is that because I believe the idol exists? Am I saying the idol is anything? Keep going.
Kadawan Khan. Or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything?
Am I saying that the food you sacrifice to idols is anything other than just being food? Continue.
Kadawan Khan. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils.
The Gentiles he's speaking about are actual Gentiles, are other nations, because he's talking to real Israelites. And he's telling these real Israelites, when you see these Gentiles, these other nations sacrificing, they're sacrificing to demons because their gods don't even exist.
Right.
So there's no God of Christmas and Father of Christmas, and there's no white Jesus, and there's no, all these other gods that they worship, they don't even exist. So when you are sacrificing to one, you're actually sacrificing to a demon, because the God that they're saying they're sacrificing to is not real at all. Everybody gets that enough, right? Does that answer your question, sis? Go ahead.
Because he says, give none offense neither to the Jews nor to the Gentiles. So is that the Gentiles?
Is that farther down?
Yes, Salaki, it's 32.
Brother, we'll go farther down. I'll bring it down for you. How much farther down is it? Is it a lot farther down or close? Okay, where are we at now?
20, sir.
20?
Sir.
Okay, so let me see how far I can go down for you. Okay, skip down 5 verses. That might do it. Go ahead.
Kadawan Khan. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 25. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles that eat, asking no questions.
Does everybody understand that? That's about just, buying food and not worrying about where the food comes from, whether it's from a stove that is clean or unclean because you're out teaching. That's kind of off the topic, but you get the point. Go ahead.
Kadawan Khan. Asking no questions for conscience sake.
Go ahead.
For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
Keep going.
Kadawan Khan. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and ye be disposed to.
Verses. This is all about going out and teaching. It's how you go out and teach, what you don't have to be worried about and afraid of, the things that will make you stay at home if you're afraid of these things. The Most High is saying to go out because he's in charge of everything. So just get out there and go travel and teach. Continue.
Kadawan Khan. Whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no questions for conscience sake.
So once again, if you're out teaching, you're going to be given food. You don't want to be squeamish about the food. Black people, like in the Bible, were very squeamish about cleanliness. You read about this when Christ was on the scene, and they talked about washing the pots and washing the pans and washing their hands. This scripture is about that, because Israelites were extremely, squeamish about people washing their hands when they cooked. They were going to kill Christ because he didn't wash his hands. That's in the Bible. And this is what this is speaking about. So you're being invited into another city, to someone's home. You're not from there. You're there to teach. Don't say, well, who did you wash your hands? Don't do that, because you'll offend that person. Everyone understands. Continue.
Kadawan Khan. But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that shoot it.
You get that, sister, right? Keep going.
Kadawan Khan. And for conscience sake.
There you go. Keep going.
Kadawan Khan. For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
Why is the Most High saying that again? For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. He's saying that to make sure you know who does not control the earth. That idol does not control the earth. The earth is controlled by the Most High, not the idol of Christmas or Halloween or blah, blah, blah. Right. That idol doesn't exist.
Right.
The earth belongs to the Most High. Continue.
Kadawan Khan. Conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other, For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience?
What verse is their question in?
Select it.
What verse are we in now?
29, sir.
Okay, keep going.
This
is Paul chastising the people who will say he's wrong for telling his men, don't worry about whether or not they wash their hands. Don't do that. Don't be rude. People will think he's evil because Israelites invented cleanliness and hygiene. And you read about this in the New Testament, and he's telling his men, don't worry about that. If you're in the house, man, don't question them about washing their hands, man. Thank them for giving you food because you're in this city to teach. There'll be some that would think I'm wrong for saying this. Read that part again.
God and God, conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience?
Meaning, why are you upset that I'm telling my men that they're free to eat the food without asking who washed this? Were the pots washed? Were your hands washed? Why are you worried about the liberty that I'm having? Continue.
God and God. For if I by grace be a partaker, why am I evil spoken of for that for which I give thanks?
If I by grace am a partaker, partaking in what? The food. I'm partaking in the food by grace, meaning the Most High has given me this food. I'm traveling in this strange city. Someone has cooked this food for me. If I'm partaking of this food by grace, read that part again.
God and God. For I by grace be a partaker. Why am I evil spoken of?
Then why are you speaking evil about me? I appreciate it, Warren. Why am I evil spoken of? Because once again, you'll read when you go to the New Testament, in the first books of the New Testament, that they were going to kill them over that, over washing pots and washing dishes and washing hands. And Christ said, inwardly, you are like a sepulcher. You are full of dead bones, and you may clean the outside of the cup. You clean the outside, but inwardly you're full of bones. You're like a grave. That is about this, because they were, super fastidious and clean, the way black people are today, almost, about making sure that you wash your hands and clean up everything. Like I believe that's what Meshach is saying the custom is about, right? And making sure everything is super clean and very clean. Israelites were like that 2,000 years ago. Now, once again, there were a lot of plagues around back then, so I can get where it came from. But of course, they got religious about it. Keep going.
God and God. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do all to the glory of God.
You get that, sister, correct? You get that? Keep going.
God and God. Give none offense, neither of the Jews, nor to the Gentiles.
Who are the Jews and who are the Gentiles? Now, right here, now I just read all this for you to answer it. Who are the Jews? Who are the Gentiles? No. The Gentiles are the Israelites who behave like Gentiles. The Jews are the Israelites who behave like Israelites. You get my point? There's an Israelite that behaves like an Israelite, and he is considered a Jew, General Cabal.
So, like Paul was going into those cities and teaching those brothers that were coming back into being, they were Gentiles,
yes,
but they were Israelites. So he was going to them or what have you, and so whether or not they be from Israel and be, in the family, in the nation, hadn't been cast off, or they was under Paul and being brought back into the nation, they still had these hang-ups about washing and cleaning and things of that nature. And he's saying, don't worry about that.
What you need, sisters, you just need Romans 11:1, where Paul said he was of the tribe of Benjamin. And you need where Paul said, I am the apostle of the Gentiles, and for I seek to convince them of whom flesh I am. That's right there. There are certain Gentiles in the New Testament that are actual Gentiles, and you just need the context to know which one. The context here is there are Israelites they keep the law, right? And then there are Israelites who don't. They keep the law of the nations around about them.
Right.
That's the Jew and the Gentile. That's it. Right here, all of these people are Israelites. One Israelite acts like one, the other Israelite acts like a heathen. You get the point. If you need those two precepts, I can give it to you. Give me, I'm the apostle of the Gentiles. Let's start with Romans 11:1 with Paul.
Khan, the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid.
God forbid. Have God cast away his people which he foreknew? Is that right there? Read it one more time.
Khan. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid.
God forbid. Have God thrown away his people? No, he did not throw away his people. That's what the Christians want you to believe. That God doesn't have a people anymore. He has all people. He loves all people, which would mean he threw away his people. If you have a child in your house and then you go to your child and say, listen, everyone is my daughter. Then what would your daughter say? Why? Because she's your daughter. So your daughter will go, whoa, everybody's your daughter. What the hell are you talking about? I can't just feed you, baby. I got to feed everyone on the planet. I got to feed everyone. So now I was giving you a plate of food. Now I'm going to give you 1 grain of rice because I have to feed everyone because everyone's my daughter. It's an insult to your daughter. You understand? God forbid. He would never throw away his people. He would never accept all people because of how it would hurt his people. God forbid. Continue.
Khan. For I also am an Israelite.
That's what Paul said. Paul said, I'm also am an Israelite. Keep going.
Khan. Of the seed of Abraham.
The seed of Abraham is Isaac. Go ahead.
Khan. Of the tribe of Benjamin.
The specific tribe is the tribe of Benjamin. He came out of Israel's son, Benjamin. Which tribe you are? The tribe of Benjamin, the chosen people of God. Here suffering and dying in Great Britain. Right. Paul was a Benjamite. Paul was what you would call today a so-called West Indian. Now give me what he said about the Gentiles.
Khan. Verse 13. For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch
I speak to what?
For I speak to you Gentiles.
Listen carefully. I speak to you Gentiles. Keep going.
Khan. Inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles.
As much as that I am the apostle of the Gentiles. What does that mean? I'm the apostle of the British, of the Americans, meaning I'm one of you. I'm of this place, which means I'm one of you. I'm of it. I come from it. I'm the apostle of the Gentiles. Keep going.
Khan. I magnify mine office.
Listen carefully. I magnify my office. He's the apostle of the Gentiles. He magnifies his office. What does magnify mean? He makes his office large. He makes it big so you can see it. He goes out on the street. He's on the internet. He's not hiding. He's not being shy and bashful. He's magnifying his office for what purpose? Keep going.
Khan. If by any means.
Listen carefully, Benjamites. If by any means. What does that mean? If by any way. If there's any possible way. Keep going.
Khan. I may provoke to emulation.
Emulation. To emulate someone, that's when you make them want to be like you. If you emulate me, you will act like me. Paul said, if I by any means may cause to emulation, that they might want to be like me. Continue.
Khan. Them which are my flesh.
Them which are my what?
Them which are my flesh.
Them which are my what?
Them which are my flesh.
What people were the flesh of Paul, sister? How do I know? Say again? That's what we read earlier. From the seed of Abraham, from the tribe of Benjamin. And he is teaching who? He is the apostle of who? He's an apostle of the Gentiles. And he magnifies his office if by any way he can cause them to emulate him who are of his flesh. Who was of the flesh of Paul? Who was of the flesh of Paul right here? The Gentiles. The Gentiles were of the flesh of Paul. If I by any means I may cause them to emulation, them which are my flesh. I'm the apostle of the Gentiles, which means the Gentiles are the same flesh as Paul.
Right.
You understand? I'm the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify my office so that I might cause them to emulate me, which are of my flesh. His office is what? The apostle of the Gentiles. That's his office. It says it right here. His office is being the apostle of the Gentiles. The Gentiles are his flesh. I just read it just now.
Right.
Read the last part again.
God on gone. By any means.
So many of them, like you look at him and you can be like, man, he's weak. I hear you up. I mean, that's, I hear you calling him weak, but he really is just trying to not be hung, because he's going to get hung if he does the smallest thing that threatens someone from the oppressors. He is getting hung. His town is getting wiped out. And if you want to go research what happens to towns who have one rebellious Negro, like one of them, those towns get obliterated. They disappear from the face of the earth. They burn these towns to the ground because one brother stood up and held his chin up high and looked the white man in the eye. And the town is gone. The town gets burned and erased from history. And you could put this in the internet. So someone who gave some money to somebody in Britain, listen, I can dig it. Now, I can certainly understand it. We will do something greater than them. Greater than them. Continue.
So like I said, would you say he made a political move, or the leadership and them?
Yeah, absolutely, it's political. Otherwise known as trying to not get burned and killed and hung. All right, because he gets hung if he doesn't do it. Go ahead.
I've never heard a story about Captain God and his people, how they stood up to the evil they had to run for their lives or what have you. Ended up in Chicago.
All over the place, man. It's everywhere. I'm sure it's all through British history. Someone that tried to, have some integrity, tried to step up for their people, and they get their heads chopped off. Everybody gets it. Mashak, someone want to say anything? Go ahead. Let me get this last one. Go ahead.
Sister Ryan, First Timothy. Can I get a breakdown on First Timothy, chapter 1 and verse 5?
Go ahead, read it. Any questions from in the room? I'll be doing some councils with the time we have allotted in the back. All right. If you need us, the rest of the generals will be in the back. Go ahead. I'll take the last question.
God on Khan. The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 1 and verse 5. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned.
Read one verse above it.
God on Khan. Verse 4. Neither give heed to fables and
One more verse above it.
God on Khan. Verse 3. As I besought thee to abide still at Ephesus when I went into Macedonia, that thou mightest charge some that they teach no other doctrine.
So this is once again Paul speaking, and he's charging them that they teach no other doctrine. You officers in the UPK, you're charged with this same order today. Right. You are never allowed to teach another doctrine. Does everyone understand? That's a law in the Bible, and you took an oath to do such. You took an oath to never teach another doctrine. Paul charged them with the same oath. Continue.
God on Khan. Neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies.
Neither give heed to fables. What is a fable? Mary never had sex when she made the whitest, sweetest baby Jesus. He was so blue-eyed and so white. He clearly was God's favorite son. That is a fable. It's a nursery rhyme. It's something to tell children because children can't learn about sex, S-E-X. You can't teach kids about sex. So, of course, you tell the babies, where did baby Jesus come from? From the stork. Did they say that over here, the stork? Y'all have that? In America, they would tell the kids the storks made the baby. The baby would say, where my sister comes from? The stork brought your baby sister. The mailman, the stork dropped him off. That was a lie going on, I think, till the 50s or 70s. I remember it, I think, as a kid. Y'all too young to remember the stork. Who knows what the hell I'm talking about with the stork? Oh, my God, House, we old. Oh, nobody know what the hell I'm talking about. Well, let me tell you, when we were kids, they used to tell kids that when someone had a baby, the stork brought the baby. A stork is a big old bird. And they would say to them, give me a picture of the stork. Yeah, like a pelican. And they would say So because of course a kid is asking, you know, how did mommy get pregnant? And they would say the stork brought the baby. The baby, where does baby come from? The stork dropped the baby off at the house. That was, I'm telling you, that was a prevalent belief of children, like the tooth fairy. And so if the baby came home, the mommy came home from the hospital with a baby, and the kid was told that a stork brought the baby home. I am not making this up. This was everywhere, this belief. Well, they did the same thing with the birth of Jesus. How did Jesus get born? God planted the seed in Mary. God did it. It was immaculate, clean, not dirty like what your daddy wants to do. Your daddy wants to make babies the dirty way. This baby came the clean way. God just used magic, and he put the baby in mommy. Yay! Stop being such an effing child all the time. Don't do that. Don't believe in fables. It's an old nonsense story like the stork. It's that God used his magic to plant the seed in Mary. Come on. Yeah, that's where it comes from Greek mythology, from Perseus and 1,000 other gods that Zeus would dress up in a cloak and go sneak into some woman's tent and impregnate the woman, and now she's pregnant by the god Zeus. You can just look this up. Paul charged his men to never change the doctrine and to stop believing in fables like that. Continue.
Khan, verse 5.
Come on.
Not to mention the adultery that's tied in, because the stork is not a man.
Yeah. So right. So then the stork ain't a man. So now your mother could be such a hoe and a whore. Do y'all say hoe over here? What do you use? You don't use the word hoe. That's too undignified. What are you, a harlot? What do you say? You look like you say harlot. Wench. Wench. I like that. You're a wench. Well, your mother is not a wench. A stork gave her the baby. Keep going.
Khan. Now the end of the commandment is charity.
Here's the end of the commandment. Charity. What is charity? Who knows? Love. Love is what all this is built on. Listen, saying that our oppressor is the devil, that is built in love. Saying that he's not the devil, that's hateful. It's cruel to his victims. You would never want a court system that let guilty people go free and didn't give justice to the victim.
Right.
You want a court system that punishes people who harm children and who unalive people. You don't want a court system that says, well, I don't care how many children you unalive, you can go home, Jesus loves you. You would know that that's a cruel court system, a court system that doesn't give justice to the victim. Well, God gives justice to the victim. Right. All of this is built in love.
That's right.
It's built in love for Abel, built in love for him, built in love for the Benjamites, for the West Indians, for the descendants and the survivors of Windrush. It's built in love for you. Continue.
Khan. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of pure heart.
Out of a pure heart, man. That's what keeps brothers and sisters in the truth. Having a pure heart. What's the opposite of having a pure heart? A heart that's full of lust and gain and, deception. Can you imagine becoming another? I think about it today. Here I am in the Israelite School of UPK under Commanding General Yahanna. And I am a soldier in God's army, forging a path for people to be free from lies. If I leave the truth and I teach that Mary didn't have sex and God loves all people, I am then become just like every preacher who has hurt my people. I'm the same as them. Then I'm just like everyone we're talking about tonight. I'm just like Queen Elizabeth. I'm just like King Charles. What does King Charles believe? Anyone want to answer? They have a church. He's the head of the Church of England, isn't he? Well, what does he believe about the Immaculate Conception? King Charles. Who wants to give me the answer? No one knows? He's the Pope. He is the head of the Church of England. What is his belief on race? What is his belief on who Jesus Christ died for? Huh? He believes the same thing that 2.8 billion people believe. If I leave the truth, I become what? In league with King Charles? I'm one of him. I'm one of the Queen of England. I'm one of Queen Elizabeth. I'm just like them. We're in the same religion. We believe the same thing. No, I'm nothing like them. My grandmother would be insulted by it. My grandfather would take it as an insult. For them, I can't do that. Everyone understands. Continue.
Khan. Now the end of the commandment of charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned.
Faith unfeigned, what does that mean? What does the word feign mean? It means weak. Like to feign, to fall out or to fall weak. Faith that does not weaken. That's the faith we have in here. That's the faith you took an oath to have. And please believe there is always someone that will keep their faith. Always. Paul said there are 7,000 men that have not bent the knee to Baal. There is always someone that will honor their oath. Always has been, always will be. I pray you understand. Anything else?
No, that's it.
We good to go here? With that, who's taking the class? Who's the guard? With that, pass the class over to Police Officer Shumgar.
UK, get yourselves ready for Commanding General Yahanna and the generals of the I.S.U.P.K. will be hosting a monster week across the United Kingdom for the 2023 Feast of Tabernacles. Thursday, September 28th, 7 p.m., 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman Scripture Breakdown class live from Edinburgh, Scotland. Friday, September 29th, tour of King James Castle, Johnny Walker Factory Tour, 8 p.m. I.S.U.P.K. opening of the Feast of Tabernacles, hosted by 13 Shield Commanding General Yahanna from Edinburgh, Scotland. Saturday, September 30th, 12 noon, Street Speaking, Bull Ring, Birmingham, 6 p.m. Street Party and Barbecue at I.S.U.P.K. United Kingdom, 10 p.m. Nightlife, Club Republic in Leicester. Special guest performance by 144 The Rebel. Sunday, October 1st, 12 noon, Street Speaking in Central London. 1 p.m. Eastern Time, London Tour and Boat Ride. Monday, October 2nd, 10 a.m. Let a Hebrew Speak live with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman 7 p.m. England Scripture Breakdown in King's Standing, Birmingham with 12 Shield Gen.Mahayaman. 9 p.m. Black Watch live with Commanding General Yahanna. Tuesday, October 3rd, 10 a.m. Shakespeare Theater and Warwickshire Castle Tour. For more info, call 44-7960-746-784.
I'll be booking them like Palace, puffing on my chalice. True say I'm an addict. 24 cali, don't make me have to grab it. Cabbage, niggas can't manage. That's another slapping. Niggas thinking that I'm famous, that I won't slap it. Nigga, I'm erratic. Erdington savage, yeah, you call this modern warfare. When we double tap it.
Another cop just stretched the nigga. Here, David, this that exorcism. Watch out, bless the nigga. Who took that oath in blood? Do you know?
Gangster in the morning, gangster in the evening, gangster in the morning, gangster in the evening, gangster all the time.
Yeah, I'm back and I'm attacking.
North side. Kalash, kilish, kalash.
C-Tech.
Da 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 da.
Yo, killed.
Say you're bad from which part? Tell a pussy we no gun dip dog. Like Chinese war so the clip tall. Show it up and make you fall from your disc dog. You know one on a disc cause man a big dog. I saw you disappear as if I never did bad.